Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, and there's also a Coffee, Patreon, crypto and thanks button in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using stock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and X. Now we are joined by, if I was on the right screen, Neil, Sensual Goat, One Deck, and a whole bunch of people in the Flat Earth Debate Discord server. So, welcome one and all.
How are you?
Morning.
Konnichiwa.
Konnichiwa. Yes, indeed you do. We have been partially covering in two different videos. One of them was ended accidentally, and the other is this one, albeit now live. Dave Mckeegan. So it's an extended video, hence I've started doing it in the pre-show because it's just too long to cover in one live show. We're at about the 8-minute mark. Does that look about right? Something like that. And we'll just carry on from where we left off.
A little bit
Here's
of
another one on screen.
No, I don't want to do housekeeping. I just want to plough our way through the Dave Mckeegan video.
Earth elevation angle measurement to a star. From a navigation manual. I didn't make this. I haven't measured one either.
Who would like to point out to Nathan that the diagram that he's showing here that he says is proof that you can't take angle measurements to curved surfaces is literally showing angle measurements being taken to a curved surface?
Sorry, is Dave...
Has he got it the wrong way round?
Is he actually retarded?
Has he got it the wrong way round?
Sorry, he thinks that because the diagram's showing a slight curve in the diagram, that means that when you draw a little curve and write a little circle next to it, that means that's not two straight lines meeting at a vertex. Maybe Dave needs to go and look at what the definition of an angle is. More specifically, the definition of an elevation angle. Measurement, because that's what we're doing. More specifically, what Dave is measuring in Antarctica. So I'm going to rely on certain Earth measurements throughout this live stream. One of them, specifically, will be Dave Mckeegan's measurement of a flat Earth elevation angle in Antarctica to the sun for a 24-hour period. Now, obviously, I can be told that this is my belief in Dave Mckeegan's flat Earth prerequisite elevation angle measurement. But I'm going to define what an elevation angle measurement is now. The altitude angle, sometimes referred to as solar elevation angle, describes how high the sun appears in the sky. The angle is measured between an imaginary line between the observer and the sun and the horizontal plane the observer is standing on. Sustainable by design, altitude angle. So an altitude angle is the line to the sun, straight, and the line on the horizontal plane the observer is standing on, also straight. It would appear that, in spite of a definition of what Dave has measured in Antarctica requiring axiomatically two straight lines to meet at a vertex, he's looked at this diagram and said, nah, curves can form angles.
Because that horizon line is sure as hell not straight, neither is the co-altitude line.
Then it's not an angle. So what you're saying is this, where it says 60 and there's a little circle next to it depicting what a degree measurement it would be if it was a degree measurement, you're saying that this isn't a degree measurement. Yeah, it's interesting that you'd be at this particular juncture so quickly, Dave, because I've got this position that you take defined. It's called the hard place. Let me explain. If you decide that you want to relinquish your flat Earth elevation angle measurements in Antarctica, that you took of the sun with two straight lines, calling them angles, because that's what two straight lines form a vertex, then you can deny your Earth measurements in Antarctica. The ones with degrees attached to them that are alleged to be experiments, they're actually flat Earth measurements of the sun for a 24-hour period with degrees. Degrees being two straight lines terminating at a vertex. And if you're to call these angles, elevation angles, they will be measurements with respect to the horizontal plane of Earth's surface, if you're going to call them Earth surface measurements. So we're clear. You, that's Dave Mckeegan, can deny his flat Earth measurements of elevation angles to the sun for a 24-hour period in Antarctica, the ones I will be appealing and relying upon. So, Dave, just for a friend, I need to understand. Do you suggest that your flat Earth prerequisite angles, that's two straight lines meeting at a vertex, aren't angles because one of them curves? It seems that Dave's denying his elevation angle measurements in Antarctica as being measurements. Because if they're not angle measurements, because they're not angles, the surface is curving, right, Dave? Then Dave doesn't have any measurements from Antarctica.
Hey, he needs to go back to school.
Which seems like he's relinquishing his Antarctic measurements as having a curved baseline, and therefore each and every single claim to be angle measurement from Antarctica isn't a measurement. So they don't have any measurements. Yeah, I've defined this. It's called the hard place, where you go, nah, these flat Earth angle measurements I took in Antarctica, they're not measurements. Nothing to see here. They're calculations from a tangent. To a sphere. Yeah? Then you haven't got any Earth measurements, Dave. Alternatively, you can understand how flat Earth must be by definition for this to be called an angle. If it's curved, it's not an elevation angle measurement of Earth. If it is flat, you'll be on your knees in the other position we define called the rock, where you understand implicitly for this to be a measurement, the measurement that Dave measured in Antarctica. Allegedly, I mean, he might be denying them and throwing them out the window and saying that part of the measurement of an angle he took to the sun was curved, therefore invalid, therefore he doesn't have any measurements after all. Or he can drop to his knees in acknowledgement of the flat Earth he will require to call his Antarctic experiments. No, they're not. They're just flat Earth measurements of the sun's angle off a flat plane required to call this an angle. What's that? Dave says it isn't. Dave says it's curved. Dave hasn't got any measurements then.
And the diagram even states that it's using a great circle path through the observer's position. And great circles are routes across the surface of a globe. So, well done, Nathan.
That's incorrect. You'll have to show us that, Dave. You're appealing to a diagrammatical example that isn't Earth. You need to show us a great circle route, Dave.
But Nathan's response to those are to say that they're an orthographic view, and in reality we don't live in a 2D world where we would be viewing the side of our own head.
That's an absolute statement of fact. You will never see the side of your own head in an orthographic view is a statement of absolute fact. When he starts describing flat Earth only concepts functioning for them on a ball. Right, we just need to get this squared away, Dave, right? See this here? It says surface level. Can you see that, Dave? It's part of the measurement to acquire this H. You need to measure H, that's your height, off surface level. Because this maths relies upon you measuring surface level parallel with eye level to acquire a distance to a geometric horizon at 1.22 times the square root of the observer's measured height off a flat Earth. It's labelled in the diagram as surface level. It can't bend, it's what we measure. It's the level surface that's parallel with the eye level utilised in this orthographic view where we see the side of our own head. like impossible in reality, but still making a measurement of your height off surface level. It's right there in the diagram. Can we all see where it says surface level? Do we all appreciate that surface level will and can only be parallel with eye level? And that is exactly how Earth must be measured to infer this distance to geometric horizon, marked as S. Below the surface level, we've measured flat, parallel with eye level. So we'll measure Earth flat for these maths, Dave. The ones that I understand implicitly, that you're saying that because Nathan says we can't see ourselves in orthographic, we can't. That doesn't change that this maths relies on surface level measurements, though. I'm pointing out the use of non-perspective. Yes.
Let me read something real quick. I just looked up an elevation angle, and can it be measured from a curved baseline? Listen to this. Yes, an elevation angle can be measured relative to a curved baseline. While elevation angles are often visualized with a straight line as a reference like the horizon, the concept extends to situations where the baseline is curved, such as on a spherical Earth. Is this a joke?
I mean, no, it's not a joke. It's part of a religious belief that moulds itself around the awful truth of having to measure an Earth flat. And they're describing how it's with respect to or with reference to. No, we're measuring Earth's surface. If your measurement is with respect to, as opposed to from, then I'm not going to take it as a surface level measurement. If it's a surface level measurement, then it's a surface level measurement and you need a level surface. It is that simple. Now, they can describe tangents to balls, but I can describe how the ball that they're describing the tangent to, as per this diagram on screen, still requires a surface level. It's right there in the diagram. Based orthographic mathematics that have been bastardised by anti-flat earthers like Petey, marked with an X labelled horizon below the surface level, called Earth curve, when we see the side of our own head in an orthographic mathematics.
Of course, orthographic views are never a problem for architects who create orthographic plans for 3D buildings, and the buildings get constructed just fine.
All right, how does the land get surveyed? Let's have a word with Simon Dan.
And yes, local land surveys use flat approximation for convenience.
Did we all hear that? So, what were you saying? You need to take this up with Simon Dan, yeah? Survey says flat Earth, kilometres, 50 of them, flat, for convenience. Simon Dan understands that we measure Earth flat for convenience, right? So what were you saying, something about blueprints and orthographic views? Survey says Earth's measured flat. Simon Dan understands this.
But for the benefit of Nathan...
Did I not just play the video of Simon Dan? Did you not hear him? Not for the benefit of me, for the benefit of Simon Dan. Simon Dan says, for convenience, Earth is measured flat by surveyors. Is that me? You two need to sort this out, lads, yeah? Dan says, yeah, it's okay, Trig's good, Trig's fine. Over short distances, yeah, we don't only measure Earth flat, says Dan. Yeah, but we do measure Earth flat. For convenience, the surveyors measure Earth flat over 50k. It's only locally measured flat. Earth, that is, according to Dan. For convenience, it's measured flat. But you seem to be putting this on me. I haven't measured anything. But Dan's explaining how, for convenience, we definitely do measure Earth flat. He's telling his audience that's all good. He's saying it's still a ball than that, but we do measure Earth flat. That's just a fact. Yeah? You can say it's only local. You can say it's over short distance. You can say it's for convenience and it's still a ball. But for convenience, over short distances locally, we measure Earth flat. Facts, lads, facts.
Here's a little demonstration of getting elevation angles to a curved surface.
Sorry, to a curved surface. Dave. No, Dave. If you want to allege that you're measuring Earth, you're going to need to get it from Earth's surface. Not to a ball you've imagineered, with measurements from surface level, for example. Like in the diagram, you seem to ignore the surface level in that diagram. I mean, the fanciful side view with a tangent-based horizon below surface level, we're never going to see that view, Dave, ever. right? And when you appeal to the surveyors building the buildings, Simon Dad says we measure Earth flat for convenience. It's very convenient to measure Earth flat. Good.
Sorry, it was. Triangles does not know what an elevation angle is. He's just demonstrated this throughout the video. He needs to go back on them little e-learning courses and find out what an elevation angle is, because he's not describing one in the right context.
Well, let's just define it.
Arse about face.
Measurement of the elevation angle. This would be like Dave measured in Antarctica. He measured elevation angles to the sun for a 24-hour period. They called it an experiment because they're liars. But what he actually measured was an elevation angle measurement. Dave Mckeegan did in Antarctica. It's on his T-shirt. He can deny these measurements of being calculations or to a sphere as opposed to from Earth's surface. Yeah? But let's just define what an elevation angle is. Measurement of elevation angle. Elevation angle is the angle between the horizontal plane and the line of sight measured in the vertical plane. The reference direction, i.e. an elevation angle of 0 degrees, is a horizontal line in the direction of the horizon. That's from Radar Tutorial. Now, I'm not going to say that's an exceptional definition of the elevation angle, horizontal prerequisite, and horizontal line to the horizon that Dave has lied about in this very video, but I'm going to go with Radar Tutorial and their definition of an Earth that's flat for an elevation angle measurement. The one I'm going to appeal to is a specific one, done by this man named Dave Mckeegan, at great expense, in Antarctica for a 24-hour period from a flat Earth to the sun, with angles. Now, you can say they're not angles and that they're curved, but then Dave hasn't got any measurements of Earth from Antarctica. I say, we measured Earth in Antarctica. We checked, it's flat. This man checked. He measured elevation angles, Earth's flat. He measured it. We've checked, okay? Now, you can deflect to pull balls all you like.
From a first-person perspective. I have my Insta360 stuck inside my globe so that the viewer's perspective is as close to the surface of it as I can get. And I can then use
Imagine bringing your side project to life just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44.
This metal rod to signify our line of sight as we move it between a line to the light in the sky and then to the horizon where it will form a tangent line.
Sorry, will it? Where did that get defined? Let's just have a read through some of the other definitions of elevation angle measurement and see how many measure tangent. Solar zenith angle is the angle between the sun's rays and the vertical direction. It is closely related to the solar altitude angle, which is the angle between the sun's rays and a horizontal plane. Since these two angles are complementary, the cosine of either one of them equals the sine of the other. I didn't hear the word tangent in there. I did hear horizontal plane again. Let's see if this is a theme that continues. The angle of elevation is the angle between the horizontal line and the line of sight, which is above the horizontal line. It is formed when an observer looks upwards. Suppose you are standing at the terrace of a building and looking upwards at the sky or at the sun or moon. The angle thus formed between your height from ground level. I mean, do I need to read anything else? And the line of sight is called the angle of elevation. So what else do you need? We require Dave's measurement of the sun in Antarctica to be measured with respect to the horizontal plane of reference the observer, in this case Dave, was standing on in Antarctica. It's part of the measurements, part of the definition. Maybe we should stick cameras in bouncy balls when he's got Antarctica on his shirt. Why isn't he appealing to his angle measurements? I mean, you'd think it would be the first thing he goes to instead of sticking a camera in a bouncy ball.
And here is this same demonstration also shot from side on to prove that it does match orthographic view diagram.
What are you doing? Seriously? Do you think this represents your view from Antarctica when measuring a horizontal plane of reference for an observer to be standing on to give you a degree above the horizontal to form an angle to give it a number to the sun? Seriously, Dave. That's not what you measured. So I just want to point this out. Dave, are you being deceitful again? Are you just thick? Is it stupidity or deceit? Because this isn't what you measured in Antarctica, is it? I've just defined what an elevation angle is, Dave. This isn't what you measured. Are you relinquishing your measurement as a hypothetical measurement that's tangential to a surface of a ball that gets created by way of measuring Polaris at its minimum to give you your radial value? Or maybe it's the derivation of the dip angle from the horizontal plane at altitude that Al-Biruni derived the R value with. I mean, you'll need a horizontal plane of reference called surface level in both instances to suggest that this ball on screen is in any way representative of a ball Earth in a heliocentric worldview that derives its R value from flat plane measurements of dip angles to geometric horizons below surface level, or minimum elevation angle measurements to Polaris, both of which require a flat Earth. So I don't really understand why you're doing this. Meanwhile, Dave's measured this in Antarctica. Why isn't he appealing to his own flat Earth measurements of Antarctica? I don't get it. You need this, do you, Dave? Wow.
What's making me,
Diagrams.
what's making me laugh as well, he opened up this video within 30 seconds saying that Nathan and the team is, the only term they're using now is the Earth is measured flat. That's all they've got. Well, yeah, because that's what it comes down to. But he's not, in any point in this video, demonstrated how it's not measured flat. When's he going to do that?
Are measured from the flat Earth headquarters. Okay, look, land surveyors do often use flat plane approximations over short distances. 6,000 feet above sea level means the average level of the ocean, and sea level is assumed to be flat ground forever. Since elevations are measured as vertical distances from sea level,
since elevations are measured as vertical distances from sea level, yeah, and since elevation angles are measured from the horizontal plane of reference the observer is standing on, then Dave measured Earth flat in Antarctica with elevation angle measurements to the sun for 24 hours. It's just that simple.
measuring a mountain's elevation, it assumes that since elevations are measured as vertical distances from sea level, and sea level is assumed to be flat, then the whole system collapses if Earth is curved. The Earth has curved sea level.
Do we have Earth as presenting curved sea level? Because we've had diagrammatical examples up from Dave Mckeegan from my stream where it very specifically showed the surface level in this diagram. It doesn't seem to be represented in this bullshit world that we're not standing on. We don't live on a bouncy ball with little bits of string coming out of a camera that you've shoved inside it. I mean, this isn't the world that we live in. Meanwhile, in the diagram that he had up earlier, he did definitely have it on screen. There it is. I'm going to put it up on the thumbnail. You can go and check this diagram for yourself. In the diagram I showed, it has a prerequisite requirement for surface level, and Dave hasn't included it in his representation. I'm going to say it's because Dave's a liar. He's a scumbag, like a deceitful shit. That's why he's left out a critical part of the mathematical requirement to measure your height off surface level. That's why it's labelled in the maths that I showed. Now, what Dave has done, because he's a liar, a shitbag, a man who should rot in hell for being scum, he's taken away the ... surface level. I didn't put that into this diagrammatical example, and Dave definitely has removed it. So why have you decided that my diagram, including the surface level that's required for a measurement, this camera's going to have a height? For this maths, if you're going to infer this is what we're doing, then this point was the H below the surface level that was definitely described and marked with surface level. It also had parallel eye level with it, so that you could derive this line. Now, that's the only way you get to this line, is by deriving it as a dip angle at altitude from surface level. Dave's just excluded both of them because he's lying to you. He's ignoring the requirement for surface level measurement for height. What? Nathan's lying. No, I'm not. It's 1.22 times the square root of the observer's height off surface level. That's why it's marked in the maths as surface level and H for height. You measure it off sea level. And what's that? Sea level bend, Simon Dan? No, sea level doesn't bend, because if it bends, parallel eye level isn't then possible for your maths. That's got eye level parallel with it, With it, what's it? Surface level that you're measuring height off. Obviously, if you're a lying, deceitful, globe-believing shithead, you'll just remove those things by doing it on a ball that you create and ignore all the mathematical prerequisites like surface level and eye level. You can just remove them.
So when taking sextant readings from the horizon,
you'll need a flat surface level, Dave.
You then have to subtract what is called dip correction.
Yeah, dip brings your height of eye off surface level to the surface level so that your dip angle is then on the surface. Height of eye is what you're correcting for. It's also
it's
called
even
dip
marked
angle.
up as height of eye. It's marked up as height of eye in the almanac. You can clearly see it on the page.
Say it again.
You see, referred to the almanac a minute. If you look at the nautical almanac, it's labelled height of eye reduction.
Yeah, the height of eye. Dave's a lying shit. He's not including fundamental parts of his mathematics in his argument. The height of eye correction is height of eye off surface level, isn't it, Dave? Now, maybe Dave studied this, maybe he didn't. Who knows? I can't automatically ascribe to malice what can easily be explained with stupidity. That is to say, Dave being dropped on his head, a total spacker, doesn't understand the requirement in my diagrams of his maths for surface level. Yeah? For the height of eye off surface level? That's what it's called. Now, fortunately, Wandek's already watched this video and knows that it already says that.
And the amount of correction varies depending on your altitude.
Sorry, altitude is your height off surface level, Dave. Yeah? That's what altitude is. How high you are off surface level or sea level. So it seems like Dave is already back at the rock, isn't he? Yeah, Dave, on your knees. Altitude is measured off surface level. So you just want to use our flat earth prerequisite measurements, do you, Dave? And then whistle past how flat earth must be for your altitude. No, Dave, you don't get to use your height off surface level or sea level to argue that Earth isn't flat. You're a moron, Dave. You're a moron.
So you reference a nautical almanac which tells you how much dip correction to apply for...
So what's this? Does it say height of eye? Do we measure it off the surface level like in my diagram, Dave? Is that why it says surface level in your begging the question proof of nothing perspective hijacking earth curve maths? Because it's required for your height of eye. Yet the eye level, like in my diagram of your begging the question proof of nothing perspective hijacking earth curve maths, had the eye level, didn't it, Dave? Parallel with the surface level that you're measuring. Yeah, for altitude. Yeah, that's height of eye, Dave. Off a flat earth, Dave. Off sea level, Dave. Do we need to hear Simon Dan explaining it again about how sea level's assumed to be flat?
Okay, look, land surveyors do often use flat plane approximations. Every major bridge or tunnel or transcontinental railway use flat approximation for convenience. Linear measurements require flatness. Miles only make sense on a flat plane. By using miles, directions and measurements, you're secretly a flat earther. And yes, local land surveys use flat approximation for convenience. Especially for locations many miles apart, use flat approximation for convenience. Even manual levelling over long distances, normal trigonometry gives good approximations. Trigonometry doesn't care what shape you're on. It's just relationships between angles and lengths used by pilots and astronomers and GPS systems. You can absolutely apply trigonometry. In the case of this diagram here, 50 kilometers, so normal trigonometry is absolutely valid. Earth being measured flat. And yes, local land surveys use flat approximation for the angular size of Pikes Peak from that position is 2.36 degrees. This is basically the angular size you expect on a flat Earth.
Here.
You absolutely do calculate these degrees when talking about how high a mountain appears from a certain location. We measure Earth flat. That's how line of sight works. Elevation angle is often measured by calculating it using height and distance.
So are we clear? We're talking about elevation angle. We're talking about the height. That's off surface level. And the distance. Straight and linear along the surface level. So we're clear, are we? I hope we've cleared this up. I mean, for a retard, obviously this needed clearing up because Dave's stupid. Or deceitful. Like I say, I keep wondering why he's not appealing to his own flat Earth elevation angle measurements of Earth in Antarctica. Unless they're not measurements. I mean, obviously Dave can come back at me and tell me, I didn't measure anything in Antarctica. There were no Earth measurements there, right? Yeah, hard place. Or he can accept on his knees that Earth's measured flat with elevation angles. Surface level. Height of eye parallel with surface level. Height off sea level. You know, like Dan understands implicitly about the average sea level being level.
Just like we did earlier, only on a completely flat surface.
What you measure it.
The angle to a mountain or a tree depends on height difference and distance. If you claim the Earth to be flat, both are which measurable, predictable, and calculable. And you can absolutely test that. Nathan's saying it just is what you measure Earth flat.
On your knees, acknowledging the linear distance, perpendicular elevation, and flat Earth prerequisite elevation angle.
Yeah, okay. On a local scale, I will acknowledge all of that. Yeah.
For your specific altitude, and you subtract that correction value off of your sextant measurement in order to get the angle from eye level to the celestial.
Eye level? Yeah, parallel with surface level. Yeah, welcome to Flat Earth, Dave Mckeegan. Yeah, you're going to need
Stop
eye
using
level.
our stuff.
Stop using our stuff, did you say? Yeah, stop using our
Yeah,
stuff.
that's all I'm hearing. I'm hearing him using flat Earth. Why?
Because that's the only way Earth gets measured. That's why Dan's admitting to it. Yeah, because I've been right all along. Whether these dickheads like it or not, Earth's measured flat by everyone. Yeah, I wasn't joking. When I say, yeah, I'll stake my reputation on it, every single one of our bull-believing opponents will, without exception, measure Earth flat, like Dave has done in Antarctica. Like Dan's talking about with surveying locally over short distances. Yeah, it's flat. Trig's fine as approximations of a flat Earth that we're measuring and surveying and building on and navigating. Yet directionality, north, south, east, west, these are only applicable to a flat plane of reference. The flat linear distance measurements we use on the maps with the flat scales, that's because Earth's flat. That's how it's been mapped and measured always,
But they're
without
supposed
exception.
to be proving a globe.
Why'd you keep interrupting me?
Celestial object. Except if you add a correction to something, but the correction value is wrong, then it will produce inaccurate results.
So we're correcting it to the surface level, Dave. It's the surface level we measured our height of eye off. For the height of
What
eye
did he
correction.
say then?
Go ahead.
Sorry, I've not watched this bit. Did he say? Is he talking? What? Just rewind that. What's he trying to explain?
To the celestial object. Except if you add a correction to something, but the correction value is wrong, then it will produce inaccurate results. Here is a demonstration done by Ion2, who took all of the dip correction values for various altitudes.
Right, so we're going to whistle past the flat Earth prerequisite elevation angle measurements, height of eye measured off surface level, and go straight to the calculations with a load of diagrams on screen. What about, let's see the measurement. How do we measure height of eye? What do they do in port? Oh, do they measure their height of eye off surface level? I'd need to see the measurement of Earth if it's with respect to Earth. And the only measurement that's made in this respect is a height of eye measurement off surface level. Let's just measure the height off a flat Earth, that's height of eye off surface level, and then start calculating it. But we'll pretend we haven't just measured Earth flat to get our height of eye off surface level and start calculating it and pretend we never measured Earth at all. So again, do we or do we not, I'm asking for a friend, measure our height of eye off surface level, in this case at port, off sea level? Or is this not an Earth measurement? No measurement to have here. We're not measuring Earth. This is purely calculatory. We're not doing any measurements of Earth. In which case, you haven't got any measurements. Because it seems like you want to use a height of eye off surface level, in this case for dip correction, otherwise known as height of eye correction, which corrects the measurement of eye level off surface level and corrects it back to surface level. But the measurement is made at port, right? With sea level being the reference that you're correcting to. For an angle, and we were talking about correcting to a straight line for trig. Talking about finding your position with the stars, right? Yeah, that's on a flat surface. But Dave here wants to whistle straight past the acquisition of the angles and go straight to using them for calculations. No, we're going to need to see someone measuring their height of eye off surface level. And when they do, I'll have you on your knees acknowledging the sea level that what? Is assumed to be level, says Simon Dunn. There's no assumption here, we're measuring it. Yeah? And when we measure that surface level, yeah, before we do any calculations, we make measurements of Earth, don't we, Dave? You want to use those measurements to tell me I'm wrong with your calculations? Well, then we've got measurements of a flat Earth, haven't we? So we've got measurements of a flat Earth. I don't need to argue about what you'll do with those when you calculate things with them, like corrections that you say are wrong. I'll just say, well, we're measuring our height of eye, though, aren't we? Well, that's height of eye off surface level. So we've definitely got a surface level then. It's a starting point. It's labelled in the maths that Dave ignored. He ignored it by putting a camera in a little bouncy ball and putting bits of string and ignoring the surface level that was specifically labelled as such, with parallel eye level so we can correct when we measure our height of eye off it. Yeah? What is it? Oh yeah, the flat Earth we're measuring our height off. Because if we can ignore that, we can use our flat Earth measurements to say Earth isn't flat, right, Dave? And tell me that I've got to start working out how these calculations off a flat Earth don't work on a flat Earth? No, Dave. I'm thinking I'm going to ignore all of this shit in favour of your flat Earth measurements in Antarctica. Yeah? I don't really care about height of eye adjustments from surface level to surface level. Irrelevant. I've got much better standard. I mean, celestial navigation's great and all. It absolutely proves a flat Earth. We're correcting to surface level in this case, but I don't rely on those. I mean, I'm waiting to find out if this is just a belief or what, but I rely on Dave Mckeegan's measurement of a flat Earth in Antarctica with elevation angles. That's what I'm relying on, Dave. So I need to know from you, do I just have a belief in the definitions of a flat Earth that's being measured as a horizontal plane of reference required in your elevation angle measurements of the sun, or are they not measurements of Earth, meaning you haven't got any measurements of Earth? Because I'm definitely going to still appeal to the very definition of measuring Earth flat with elevation angles, like the ones you made in Antarctica that I'm appealing to, Dave. None of this garbage correcting from surface level with height of eye that's parallel with it, like I had diagrammatically exampled and you removed with your little blow-up ball. No, I'll just rely on your elevation angle measurements in Antarctica, mate. That's what I'm relying on.
Straight from a nautical almanac and plotted them out to show the dip corrections literally draw a curved surface.
Sorry, you can't draw a dip correction from a horizontal plane of reference and then curve it. You're violating the base principle of a parallel eye level above surface level, in this case sea level. What Dave's doing is violating the base principle measurement that he's whistled past. So the bent sea level, is it like Dan said? We've got a bent sea level. No, eye level won't be parallel with it when you measured your height above it, if this was the case, Dave. So it seems like you're violating the base principle measurement of the surface level, in this case sea level, at port for height of eye correction as labelled in the almanac. Dave, did you not notice it was labelled as height of eye? Do you not understand what elevation is, Dave? I mean, come on. If you appreciate that your height off surface level isn't going to be a height off surface bend, you wouldn't be violating the base principle measurement that you've whistled past with this shit on screen.
With a radius of 7/6r.
What? A radius of 7/6r?
Just to go...
What?
Which is the globe, including standard atmospheric refraction.
No, the globe is derived from an R value measured by a inference that you've got a dip angle correction in the form of Al-Biruni. Again, him going up a mountain that he measures off a flat Earth with trig to say how high the horizon, like the one you showed with your little ball, is derived from a parallel eye level and surface level with dip angle measurements. That requires surface level. It requires you measure the height of a mountain with trig. Yeah? Like the local trig that Dan admits that we measure Earth flat with. That's okay to measure heights of mountains with, flat Earth trig, because Earth's a flat surface level to get heights of mountains off. To then say that you've got a parallel eye level. When you go up the height of the mountain, you measured off a flat Earth. So then you can say there's a geometric tangent point in orthographic view below the surface level that you can derive a radial value with, aka the Al-Biruni method of dip angle measurement of geometric inferred sphericity. Now that would require surface level. Alternatively, you can derive your radial value for your begging the question proof of nothing perspective hijacking Earth curve maths from a minimum elevation angle measurement to Polaris. What elevation angle measurement are you cry? It's the same one I'm relying on Dave measuring in Antarctica off a flat plane, because that's how it's defined. In this case with Polaris at its minimum. Minimum what? You say straight lines meeting at a vertex. Bending one stops it being an angle, meaning you haven't got any measurements. Elevation angles in this case. Minimums to Polaris in this case to acquire an R value into a inferred sphericity utilised by a moron dropped by his head who can't say R's.
So the correction values have to be accurate in order for the results to work.
Welcome to Flat Earth. So if we correct a parallel eye level to the surface level or sea level, they must be accurate. Then we're correcting to surface level. Welcome to Flat Earth.
And the corrections that we apply for celestial navigation are literally being derived from a globe.
No, they're not. They're being derived from surface level, parallel with eye level, as labelled in the diagram I showed that you had highlighted on your stream. Now, either Dave was dropped on his head by his careless parents and is too stupid to realise that you absolutely unequivocally require a surface level to measure, otherwise it wouldn't be in the diagrammatical example of the begging the question proof of nothing perspective hijacking Earth curve calculator that I use and is labelled with eye level for the height of eye, Dave, the one you're correcting. What are we correcting to? Oh, surface level. Yeah? Accurately. Proving a flat Earth, Dave. Yeah, you're going to need a flat Earth to correct surface level. Go ahead.
The other thing, Nathan, is it only works on a globe. I mean, we're using a sea sextant. It's designed to measure elevation angles. Now, we've already been through what an elevation angle is. Requires a horizontal baseline. So that wouldn't work on a globe with a curved baseline. Yeah, it just wouldn't happen. Also, the whole reason for, when we're doing celestial navigation is to pinpoint your position. Now, once you've brought the luminary down to sea level, yeah, now the observer's eye needs to come down to sea level to obtain that elevation angle. So you've got the luminary at sea level. We're going to bring our eye down to sea level, and that will be the horizontal baseline for the elevation angle. Now, that distance between the GP of the sun, let's say, and the eye level once it's brought down to sea level could be in the region of 5,400 miles of a horizontal plane for that elevation angle at sea level.
Yes. And
there's no globe here. There's no globe here.
No.
A lot of flat.
No, what we're deriving for this, if we're using it for celestial navigation, is areas of equal elevation, or circles of equal altitude as they are labelled. I'll just say that once more. Circles of equal altitude. Are you paying attention? Equal altitude. Planar circles of equal elevation. It couldn't be more clear. Earth is flat for celestial navigation. If it isn't, then you haven't got a planar surface to draw circles of, I'll say it once more, equal elevation. Two-dimensional circles on flat maps with linear straight distances. We all getting this? Earth's measured flat, whether you globe-believing numpties like this or not. That's how Earth gets measured. And no matter how much you try and squirm away from this, like Dave's trying to squirm away from it, you'll always have those prerequisite flat Earth measurements being axiomatically tied to a flat Earth. You don't have to like it, it's how we measure Earth.
The daft part, though, is he says the Earth must be flat because you can't take angle measurements from a curved surface. But if you can't take an angle measurement from a curved surface, then that means you couldn't take angle measurements to a curved surface.
So we're getting measurements
elevation angles, elevation angles, mate.
Yeah, what one deck's pointing out is that you're just talking about angles and not elevation angles. And when we're talking about measurements of the luminaries with respect to the horizontal plane the observer is standing on, we're talking about elevation angle measurements, not just angles. And elevation angles are what I'm appealing to when you, Dave, measured the sun's elevation angle for a 24-hour period with respect to the plane it must be to call it an angle. Because that's how Earth gets measured, with elevation angles, Dave. Yeah? They can't be curved or they won't be angles. You measured them, mate, in Antarctica. Remember?
Either. So by Nathan's logic, you should only ever be able to take angle measurements to straight-edged objects.
That's what an angle is.
But when doing celestial navigation during the day, you take angle measurements to the sun. And Nathan has shown photos of the sun before and acknowledges it's circular.
Let's just define an elevation angle, because Dave's decided that we're just measuring angles to the sun as opposed to navigating Earth's surface. So if we're not measuring the surface, we're just measuring the sun, then what's the point of using this for navigation? The reason this is a complete shit show by a moron is because we're doing this so we can find our way around the surface. It's navigation. So it's definitely with respect to the surface, and we're measuring an angle along the surface. It's one of the straight lines when you pick up a sextant that you're measuring, yeah? Horizontal plane of reference that the observer is standing on, as per the definition of an elevation angle measurement, Dave, yeah? You don't have to like it.
This is what it looked like to me. Yeah, this is as close as possible as you get as, accurate amateur
So why is Dave appealing to this? We're discussing what the sun looks like in solar photography as opposed to what Dave measured in Antarctica that I'm appealing to when I say I'm going to appeal to the elevation angle measurement made by Dave of Earth's surface. Now, either my appeal is wrong. I shouldn't be appealing to the TFE, flat Earth elevation angle measurement of Earth's surface, because it isn't a measurement of Earth's surface. In which case, what was the point of TFE? It wasn't measuring Earth's surface. You haven't got any measurements, not the surface. Oh, that is the surface. It's an elevation angle measurement. So it's the horizontal plane the observer is standing on to measure the angle to the sun for a 24-hour period then. Earth's being measured flat then. Yeah, that's the angle measurement that I'm appealing to. It's the one Dave made. It's not a belief, unless he tells me that they weren't actually measuring anything in Antarctica, in which case he just hasn't got any measurements. He hasn't got any. I mean, I'm going to appeal to them if they are measurements of Earth's surface. Flat. To call it an angle to the sun for a 24-hour period. But obviously I could be wrong. We might not have any measurements of Earth's surface. These could just be calculations, in which case useless, because I only want Earth surface measurements. When I appeal to Dave's Earth surface measurements of elevation angles, they're flat. Unless I'm wrong, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know, maybe you'll let me know. Maybe I should be in that hard place of saying we haven't got any measurements of Earth. These are just calculations, right? You tell me.
Presentations of the sun with a filter looking at sunspots.
So if you can take angle measurements to the curved surface of the sun...
Not to. Yeah, we're measuring from Earth's surface. So you're not measuring from the surface of Earth in Antarctica. You're measuring to an imaginary ball, tangential. Oh, right, well, I'm not going to accept those measurements. If you're measuring to a ball that you're assuming, that's not measurements from the surface. I want measurements from Earth's surface. Is that unreasonable? I mean, we're in a flat Earth debate, allegedly. I mean, we're not. They're measuring from Earth's surface. not to a ball, from Earth's surface for elevation angles. Unless, of course, I'm very much mistaken and they don't have any measurement of Earth's surface from Earth's surface. Maybe we're measuring to a ball, but then we haven't got any measurements from Earth's surface, have we? We have their elevation angles. I'll rely on the ones TFE gave us from Earth's surface.
Then you can also take angle measurements to the curved surface of a globe.
Of a globe you imagined, or to the surface for the elevation angles you measured? I mean, I don't mind which. You can either relinquish your measurements and say you haven't got any measurements from Earth's surface, Dave. The ones I'm relying on as being flat, the ones you measured. Have you not got those anymore? You've only got the ones to a ball, the ball that gets created with minimum elevation angles to Polaris or Bruni's dip angles, or they require surface level. Yeah, I've gone through it. I mean, I understand having been dropped on your head, this might be difficult to comprehend, Dave. You just stroke your dog and let him lick you.
Because both instances, you're just taking angles between tangent lines.
Right, Dave, you look like Gollum. I assume you are fundamentally unfuckable based on your appearance, because this is what you're spending your time doing. Right, you sound like a retard, you look like Gollum, you're fundamentally unfuckable, and this is what you're spending your time doing. Meanwhile, I'm just going to appeal to this unfuckable Gollum's troll measurements in a flat Earth he called Antarctica, allegedly, somewhere he thinks is on the bottom of a ball, antipodal to the surface level measurements that he took when flying there and on Earth's surface. Now, he can deny that these are measurements from Earth's surface and to a ball he imagines, but they won't be acceptable by me. So, you unfuckable Gollum, you've got Earth measurements that are flat, and you can either deny them, they're elevation angle measurements in Antarctica, or you can sit there saying that you have got flat Earth measurements on your knees with your dog licking your face. Which is it? Have you got measurements of Earth from Earth's surface, or is it to a ball you imagined? Which is it? Because the ball you imagined needs a surface level.
Plus, Nathan, we're not measuring angles between two tangent lines. Like I explained before, you've got the GP of the sun at sea level, and then once you rise down to sea level, that's one horizontal baseline for the elevation angle, not a tangent. We don't have a tangent mirror on the sea sextant. We have a horizon mirror, which is used to establish horizontal between them 2 points on the one horizontal plane, not two tangent lines touching a sphere that you haven't got.
Dave, why don't you go out and find a woman? Somewhere out there's an ugly woman who'll sleep with you. You don't have to spend your time telling the world that they measure to a ball you've imagined, that I can pick apart as being a ball that's been created with flat Earth elevation angle measurements to Polaris, or dip angle measurements from a surface level with parallel eye level in the case of Al-Biruni. This is sad.
He's got his dog.
It's just sad. Go out and find a woman, Dave. Now, I realise it's hard because you look like you look. Yeah? You are fundamentally unfuckable. Now, I understand that. Yeah?
Oh,
but
God.
given that I get told regularly that I shouldn't breed, I have bred. It's because I look like this. Yeah? And I talk sense. I don't sound like a spastic who was dropped on his head. Now, with work, I can help you. Yeah? I've managed to successfully breed. Now, that's because I'm not an unfuckable troll who doesn't understand his own bleeding measurements of elevation angles. Yeah? You think that when someone's talking about measuring Earth flat, that means they're talking about balls on a table. Now, stop concerning yourself with balls. Start concerning yourself with breeding. Now, I don't want to see you disappear through natural selection, but as it stands, you're a retard, and you're obviously repelling women. Because you sat there with your dog licking you, Dave. Yeah? Now, you represent quite a large chunk of other ball-believing unfuckable golems. Yeah? You represent them, Dave. Yeah? I can help you. Move past this shit you're all stuck on. This, we measure to a ball we imagine, rather than from Earth's surface with elevation angles. And the ball that we measure to, that we imagine, as a radial value derived from flat Earth measurements also. That's just stupid nonsense. And it's why women don't like you, Dave. Yeah, you can't step away from your nonsense waffle about Earth being measured flat so that it's not measured flat, so that you can get your height of eye correction to surface level because it's actually bending. This is why you repel women, Dave. That and you look like this, with your Antarctica t-shirt on. Yeah? Now me, even when I'm fat, I'll be honest, I still have women approaching me, even with a ring on. Maybe it's the ring, I don't know. But even looking quite gross, stressed out, spotty and fat, I can still attract women. My wife still finds me attractive. Yeah.
Why are you going there, Nathan?
Why?
Listen,
Why?
you don't have an argument,
Why?
you do these
Because I get accused of child abuse. I love my children. I'd never dare lay a finger on them. But I'm constantly accused of beating them. That upsets me greatly. I get told not to breed. Yeah. I also get told to unalive myself by commenters. Now, meanwhile, I'm right. Now, I've got Simon Dan on my side now. So when it comes to this unfuckable troll telling me how wrong I am, I'm going to ad hom him. Yeah? Now you can say, oh, Nathan, you don't need to lower yourself to their level. No, and neither does Mckeegan need to go around accusing me of child abuse. He doesn't have to do that, does he? Now, you can tell me that I'm just sinking to their level, and I am. I'm sinking to the level of pointing out that natural selection by these fuckwits mentality is going to weed out this retard. This man won't breed, and it's because he's an idiot and he's wrong. I've bred because I'm correct. Now, you guys want to take it to this level. Let's get him off the internet because he beats his kids. No, I do not. This man will not carry on the Darwinian line, will he? He'll get licked by his dog and then die. That's the facts in this matter. Yeah? This unfuckable golem will just die out. Natural selection in his mind. Now, I don't give a fuck, in reality. What I do know is while I go around pointing out that Earth is measured flat, people who attack me suddenly make it very personal. Suddenly make it about my kids. And it's disgusting. So I'll hold a mirror up to that shit and say, yeah, okay, you want to tell me not to breed and to unalive myself. How would my kids fend for themselves then? The ones that you claim I beat? I don't. But Dave, he hasn't got that problem. He can talk about Earth being measured to a sphere to correct eye level to surface level all day long, and that'll just mean that Darwin wipes him out. Yeah? So, in this case, fair enough. You want to take it to that place. Yeah, that's the place that this man dies out, doesn't breed. He hasn't. He's an unfuckable troll. An unfuckable troll who went to Antarctica and measured Earth flat there. So that's just the literal state of affairs. Now, wishful thinking says that I should unalive myself, according to my horrible, nasty detractors who claim I'm guilty of crimes. Now, I'm not suggesting Dave, by being an unfuckable troll, is guilty of a crime. That's a fact. He is an unfuckable troll. Look at him. An unfuckable troll who measured Earth flat in Antarctica. Those are just the facts in the matter. They don't want me to take it to this place. Don't accuse me of crimes. Yeah? It's just that simple.
I mean, the funniest part for me...
Yeah.
Sorry, Nathan. This is, this is what they've got to do. They've got to lie now. I mean, he knows what an elevation angle is. I mean, we can all just look at what an elevation angle is and get a picture of one. It's quite easy to understand. Yeah, once you've, looked at the citations and definitions and worked out what it is, it's not that difficult. But he's still denying what an elevation angle measurement is because he has to. Because when it comes down to the measurements, I mean, in his opening words to this video, that's all they ever say now. The Earth is measured flat. You just keep repeating, yeah, it is measured flat. And we're telling you how it is measured flat, what tools are used, and how it's measured flat. And you're coming on here, you don't even know what an elevation angle is. We're not measuring to a sphere. Yeah, but this is what's happening, and they're getting scared of the book, and they're getting scared of the measurements. It's all come down to measurements now.
Being invaded by kids. Yeah. Come here, Clover. Let's just show Dave Mckeegan something he'll never experience. This is what me and my wife made, Dave. Yeah? This is something you'll never get. Yeah? The love of a small child. I don't beat these children. Yeah? I just want to make that clear. I want to make that absolutely clear. Last time I was accused of it, I put a bandage around my kid's head and leant into it. This time I'm just going to say, why are you accusing me of crimes? Yeah? The people out there like Dave and Mckeegan and people who want to accuse me of crime, why are you doing that? Right? I've got my wife with me. Come here, Paula.
And
right?
Toon, don't
she
forget
doesn't want to
Toon.
appear on camera. She's a bit camera shy. Come here. Just right, kid pulling here. Right, have we got an abusive family, Paula? Is this?
No.
I mean, do we smack our kids when they do something wrong?
No, definitely not.
Do not.
So why is it that I have to tolerate being accused of crimes constantly by people like MC Toon? It's really, you can probably hear it. I mean, my audience doesn't generally get this side of me. I don't know why it's coming out of me now. But why should I have to tolerate this, do you think? My wife doesn't want to be on camera. I'm going to take the pressure off if she doesn't want to do this. Right, go on. You've both been very tolerant of me. Go on, off you go.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Look, you shouldn't have to tolerate anything. We're in a discussion about the measurement of Earth, and that's
She's not
all the
camera
topics.
shy, right?
Right.
Hold
I
on,
shouldn't
Nathan, I
have to bring it
understand what
down
you're
to this
saying.
level, should I? I shouldn't have to do this. Right, Dave? I'm sure Dave would prefer that I didn't point out he's an unfuckable troll, that no woman will ever love him because of his face and how ugly he is, how natural selection's a bitch for Dave, and he'll only ever receive the love of that dog. Yeah? He's not going to produce children where people tell me not to do that. Do I need to do this? Or would we prefer to stick to the flat Earth elevation angle measurements made by Dave in Antarctica? Because what I'm hearing is his cohort screaming my fucking name into the snow. This man was the guy who filmed MC Toon, who accuses me of crimes, screaming my name into the snow while I pointed out to him that MC Toon measures Earth flat. This man was measuring Earth flat while that was happening. So this man's heard my name echo around the Antarctic snow, allegedly. I don't know if he actually went there. It could have been a ten of tellies for all I care. Doesn't change what an elevation angle measurement is. Doesn't change how unfuckable Dave is, or what an absolute arsehole MC Toon is when he accuses me of crimes I haven't committed. And it doesn't change how disgusting these people make the argument. Yeah? Apparently, according to Simon Dan, I'm a deplorable human being. Really? No, I'm a loving father, struggling to keep a roof over my kids' head and feed them, because I get absolutely no algorithmic love where these pricks who go and measure Earth flat in Antarctica to call it an experiment will get millions of views off my back. Yeah, this is a video about me. Dave will make a killing off this video. Yeah? Now, I'm not asking for much. For about the last 3 years, I've said, if you make a video about me, the very least you could do if you're not a complete scumbag is put a link to my video. So let's see if Dave's a scumbag. Let's see if he's put a link to me. No. You see, what I do is, this is my living, this is my livelihood, this is what I do to pay the rent, pay the mortgage, to feed my kids. So I depend on this, what I'm doing now, generating revenue. Now, Dave is using me to do the same, but he's not paying it forward. He's not acknowledging my show with a link back to it. Now, I'll do that all day long and tell people to go and share the algorithmic love with people like Dave. I'll do it right now. Yeah? As an example. But Dave's not doing it back. He's not offering me any YouTube algorithmic love. And that's because he's a wanker. So when I say there's a reason women don't love people like Dave, it's because he's a wanker. Now, if he was a kind person, he'd see somebody, a family man, and think, oh, this guy makes his living from YouTube. So I'll put a link to him so his video will get a few more views, a few more ad revenue hits. But Dave ain't doing that. Yeah? So because of that, as it's currently the case that are being accused of crimes, I'll just lay out the reality that that's probably why women are repelled by you, Dave, because you're not a very nice person. Now, I've literally, in the last 24 hours by Simon Dan, your cohort, been called deplorable. I'm not. But you are. And it's woman repellent.
Yeah, but they have to go to these extremes because they have nothing. We have everything. So it just, I understand. It would have gotten to me a long time ago, and I would have taken other avenues to relieve this. But we don't need it. Don't need to call him unwhateverable. He is a piece of crap. We know this. He's not going to share the love because he don't care.
Well, he's not getting it. That's the thing, isn't it? As much as I can moan and bleat about how poor I am, I showed where I'm rich. Yeah, they were sat here 35 seconds ago. Yeah, that's my riches that I get. Dave doesn't get those. So I'm going to flaunt them.
Oh, I said it in chat. I said, first of all, you idiots have no idea his children adore him. That's not the signs of an abusive parent. So get off of it already. It's been freaking years.
But this is, you can see what we've said this. I've said it as well, mainly. I don't know. This is, we've had 3 of these in short succession now, all with the same sort of temperament and aimed at Nathan in a certain way. Not like they've done before, maybe. It seems to have worsened for some reason. And I wonder what that reason is. But it seems to be happening, and they're trying to pile on a bit of pressure, do whatever they're trying to do.
Character assassination, because they know the book's coming out. They know the information in that book, and they got to assassinate the person that's responsible for the book, the author's name that's going to be on there. Let's take him through the mud and make him look like crap. We know this.
Yeah, but
we rise above.
But it should be we're bringing these the evilness out. They're being exposed because of the truth and the book and the measurements and where we are now. This is being seen and witnessed, how these people are, and we should be. This is what it's done to him. Where FED and Nathan have the level, pardon the pun, that you're at and you brought it to, is now starting to have effect on these people, and this is how low they are going because of a measurement.
Me of all this, though, is something Nathan has clearly overlooked with regards to all of his arguments about celestial navigation actually working. Because he, like many flat earthers, especially since the final experiment, reject the idea that the AE map is the flat earth map.
No, we dealt with that 10 years ago. Tracking the sun on a flat earth live. Again, just got to misrepresent the position that we took. We instantaneously debunked this azimuthal equidistant North Pole-centric globe projection for being, number 1, a globe projection, and number 2, not matching up with reality. So, yeah, you can strawman me all day long with this shit, Dave, but reality says that you measured Earth flat in Antarctica. Nothing's going to change that.
I think the main problem with that map is somebody put a circling sun and moon over it, which was never on the original map.
Instead, now he argues there is no flat Earth map and that all maps are just projections of the globe.
If a flat earther tells you that there is no accurate flat Earth map...
Sorry, there is no flat Earth accurate map because they're all globe projections, distorting things. Like the azimuthal equidistant North Pole globe projection is a globe projection. It's not a flat Earth map.
So Nathan says taking angle measurements to stars to do celestial navigation requires a flat Earth.
Yes, that's correct.
But just having angle measurements by themselves is pointless because...
Right, elevation angle measurements, Dave. Yeah, slow,
Keeps
retarded, dropped on your head.
Keeps missing that bit out, doesn't he?
Yeah, just keeps leaving it out. Yeah, we're talking about the measurements that you made, Dave. So, I mean, again, you can deny your own measurements. No, I didn't take any measurements in Antarctica. They're just calculations, extrapolations. So, therefore, you haven't got any measurements then? No surface level measure. To a ball, you say? Where did the ball that you're measuring to come from? Oh, right, by measuring surface level and eye level derivations. Dip angle measurements for Alberuni's R. Oh, no, it was the minimum elevation angle measurement taken from a planar surface to Polaris at its minimum for your R value to a sphere. Yeah, that to a sphere needs a flat plane to measure also, doesn't it, Dave?
Because that doesn't actually tell you where you are. In celestial navigation, you use those angles to give you circles of equal altitude, but that only works if you have an accurate map to plot the circles on.
So we're making circles of equal altitude then? So we're going to need a equal altitude area to plot this on? I mean, what part of equal altitude infers sphericity? It doesn't. It's flat. It's a circle. It's two-dimensional. These Peckerwoods keep your name out there.
Angles again, aren't they? You know, and not once is his first comments were we've measured flat. That's all we hear. The Earth is measured flat. Well, he's not once. I don't know how far we're in here, but he's not once mentioned how Earth's not measured flat. Dave, triangles. How is it measured then? Give us your breakdown of it. You know, what tools used. Tell us all about this. We're dying to hear about it.
Jomo says, these peckerwoods keep your name out there as the legend you are. Chin up and thank you. Oh, thank you very much for the super chat. Really appreciate the support.
If you don't have an accurate map, you couldn't accurately plot your location. And as
So you can accurately plot your location on a flat map. Welcome to Flat Earth. Yeah, the maps are still distorted by globe projection. That doesn't alter that I haven't measured them, but the measurements of Earth are flat to create them. On a process of distorting them with globe projection. Yeah, that's still measuring a flat Earth with elevation angles to create systems like latitude, with Polaris as the minimum value for your ball radius. That's a flat Earth elevation angle measurement. Doesn't matter which way you dice it or which way you project it after you've measured Earth flat with it. Earth's still measured flat with elevation angles whether you like it or not. You create your ball with them. Good.
Yeah, that's how latitude's measured. Latitude is an elevation angle measurement. The sea sextant is used to measure latitude. Sea sextant is designed to measure elevation angle measurements. Elevation angle measurements are not curved measurements.
As Nathan himself points out, all maps are projections of the globe. So for as much as Nathan likes to wrongly say that you need a flat Earth for celestial navigation,
You do. You're plotting circles of equal elevation, areas of equal altitude on flat maps. So you do need a flat Earth to measure angles with respect to surface level and then plot the circles of equal elevation on a flat map. What more do you want? You're saying, well, between us making the elevation angle measurements of a flat Earth and plotting them on the flat map, we've actually distorted the maps heavily by projecting them from globes in between. Yeah, the maps are all messed up because we project globes in between measuring Earth flat and plotting them on maps. We take circles like latitude and plot them on square grids, as is the case in the Mercator projection of a globe on a flat map, with a square grid that's actually representative of a circle of equal elevation, measurement by way of equal altitude acquirement, with Polaris measured with an angle off a flat Earth. It's the same angle I'm appealing to that Dave measured. Either we've got measurements from Earth's surface to the sun for a 24-hour period, they're called elevation angles, in which case Earth's measured flat. Earth's surface is flat for that to be a measurement. Alternatively, we haven't got any surface of Earth measurements in Antarctica. The degrees that we ascribed to the sun were wrong. They're not surface of Earth measurements, in which case we haven't got any measurements from Antarctica. But I'll be leaning into those specific ones, the ones that Dave here made. Yeah, elevation angles of a flat Earth. Same ones that create the R value that your ball is reliant upon, based on the minimum elevation angle to Polaris.
any form of navigation requires a globe.
No, it doesn't. It's superfluous to requirements if you're plotting out areas of equal elevation. In fact, it makes things distort.
Because they all use maps, and all maps are globe projections.
All maps are flat. Now, the fact that you take a flat Earth measurement of an angle, project flat circles, and then wrap those circles around a ball, to then wrap a tube around the ball and project those points back out onto the flat tube after rolling it back out flat, does not mean that we are reliant on the globe section of globe projection in maps. It means that the maps are distorted because they are globe projections. But the maps we use are flat, or we couldn't use circles of equal elevation on them.
And you can even see this because people have gone and taken celestial...
Is this a navigator? Sorry, this doesn't look like a ship. This looks like someone's kitchen. Sorry, do you think that the circles being drawn on these varying different heights on a ball are circles of equal elevation? Sorry, maybe you don't understand what equal altitude means when you're drawing your little circles on a ball that isn't a map. Sorry, are people navigating with these on ships? No, I think you'll find that the chart table's flat for the flat maps, for the flat circles of equal elevation with the flat angles of elevation that are measured to the stars off the flat surface. Like the ones Dave measured in Antarctica, and they're the ones I'm relying on. Unless it's just my belief that these are surface level measurements. I mean, if they're not measurements of Earth's surface, then obviously TFE was for nothing and they don't have any Earth measurements. Alternatively, they will be on their knees acknowledging how flat Earth will be if we're going to call this Earth measurement elevation angle to the sun in Antarctica.
Sightings and plotted.
Why is he trying to sort of make out that you are responsible for these maps, Nathan? I don't think you got involved with map making, did you?
No, I'm not a cartographer.
No, and I think people, celestial navigation, did you invent that, Nathan? No, you didn't.
No, did I invent circles of equal elevation, two-dimensional, flat in nature, to work on flat maps, on flat charts, on flat tables, when surveying and mapping and navigating and charting the world flat, with flat Earth elevation angles to do it with? No, I didn't do any of this. Dave did a bit of it, though, in Antarctica. It's what, if asked, where's your flat Earth measurements, Nathan? I say TFE. Dave Mckeegan specifically, he measured Earth flat, the surface of Earth, that is, with elevation angles to the sun for a 24-hour period. What's that? They're not measurements of Earth's surface. Tangents to a ball. Oh, right, then we haven't got any measurements of Earth's surface then. Unless you have got the surface level measurements made in Antarctica by Dave specifically. Those are flat Earth measurements.
What did he do again, Dave? Did he use a stick and shadow example of the elevation angle at surface level throughout the day to show the different angle representations of the sun above the horizontal? That's what he did, wasn't it, I think?
Yeah, it's called an elevation angle measurement. Dave doesn't seem to understand his own very expensive process of measuring elevation angles in Antarctica. He just keeps calling them angles and referring to pool balls and things.
The Earth is flat, measuring the shortest path between 2 points. Over small distances, you can use straight line approximations. You measure Earth flat. We're all done and dusted for another one. The Earth has curved sea level.
On your knees, acknowledging the linear distance, perpendicular elevation, and flat Earth prerequisite elevation angle.
Yeah, okay. On a local scale, I will acknowledge all of that.
All right, Dan acknowledges that the elevation angle measurement requires a flat Earth. It's an angle, 2 straight lines meeting at a vertex. And if it's going to be claimed to be a surface level of Earth measurement, then it's a flat Earth surface that we're measuring. Unless it's not a measurement. I mean, obviously, I'm just going to wait for Dave Mckeegan to clarify this. I've gone over it several times. I need clarification. Is my belief in Dave Mckeegan's flat Earth elevation angle measurement from Earth's surface actually not from Earth's surface and to a ball derived from an R value that's utilising surface level and parallel eye level like in my diagrams in his video? I just need to find out for a friend. I mean, if I'm just believing in these Earth measurements that are flat, that Dave made, I need to know quick sharp, don't I? Because I'm relying on them when I say Earth's measured flat. Dave's the one who measured it.
Them on a physical globe and managed to accurately get their location on that surface.
Are they circles of equal altitude? What about these lines that are already on this globe? Where did they come from, Dave? You see, what these are latitude lines, Dave. Now, I appreciate that your little shyster friend here has drawn his crayons on your globe, but it seems to me like they've already got printed lines on the globe, a bit like the surface level and parallel eye level that you ignored. But in this case, you've kept them, right? These lines on your globe. Where do they come from? Because a minute ago you inferred that the globe was what everybody required if we're going to map things. Not that anybody's ever charting their position on a ball. They're doing it on charts and tables that are flat with flat maps. But Dave thinks it's done like this. Okay, so let's have a little closer look, shall we? What are these lines, Dave? Are these latitude lines? Oh, really, Dave? Where do we measure those? Are they the elevation angle measurements to Polaris? Oh, they are? Elevation angle measurements? Like horizontal plane of Earth's surface and line up to Polaris, 2 straight lines meeting at a vertex. Okay to measure with trig. All okay that it's flat, says Simon Dan. Yeah? Oh, well, they would be a flat Earth prerequisite elevation angle measurement then, wouldn't they? Why are you ignoring the flat Earth measurement of these lines on your globe? You're going to need to measure those flat with elevation angles to Polaris, Dave. So obviously, given that you thought the process stopped at globe projection. No, Dave, the projection came from flat Earth measurements of Polaris in this instance. Can you see these lines, clown? Where do you think they came from? Are they written on in crayon? Oh, no, they're not, are they? Oh, they're latitude lines. Yeah, Earth's measured flat for those, Dave. So it seems like your fanciful idea that people plot out circles of equal elevation on spherical lamps ignores the fact that the lamp itself has a prerequisite flat circle of equal elevation system utilising Polaris and its flat measurements. Like on this diagram. Oh no, I've taken it off your screen. Let's bring that up.
What are you doing now? You keep saying it only works on a globe, and you know this can only work. Now we've all sort of we've described what an elevation angle is. We've described the distance between the GP at sea level and the observer's position at sea level when they bring the height of eye down to sea level, and that's one straight horizontal line. The sextant is designed for elevation angle measurements. We've been over elevation angle measurements, so we're describing how this is got nothing to do with curvature. It's all happening on a straight horizontal plane, sea level. We're explaining that. Now, Dave said it can only work on a globe, but not once has he tried to explain how his globe was measured.
Oh, no, he said that this line on screen, so on this diagram that we've got on screen, Dave said that this line was curved, like it shows in the diagram, and then said that it was a circle, right? Like it describes down here. Great circle, he said. And I pointed out that, okay, so if that's not an angle, because one of the lines of the angle, that's defined as two straight lines meeting at a vertex. If one of the lines is bent, then it's not an angle measurement. Therefore, it's not a measurement. Now, Dave's suggestion was that the surface is bending, but it still gives us an angle. No. It violates what an angle is if it's bending. But that's what Dave said. A bit like Simon Dan saying, we've got curved sea level. Obviously, you're not going to be acquiring elevation angles or height of eye corrections to surface level for dip angle corrections. That's straight lines, right? But these numpties seem to think we've got curved sea
measure
level.
Earth flat. And yes, local land surveys use flat approximation for convenience. The elevations are measured. The Earth has curved sea level.
No, you see, if curved sea level was what we were using, then we wouldn't have angles. But these numpties think that they can have their cake and eat it. Like, oh yeah, we'll use flat Earth prerequisite elevation angles, but we'll violate the base principle of the angle measurement as being a straight line and say, look, it's curving. Yeah, it's not a measurement anymore, dumbos.
By comparison, I once saw a flat earther try to plot out 3 celestial angles onto an AE map, and the circles didn't actually line up with each other.
Or at least they're circles. Like, circles are two-dimensional. You appreciate that, right? What you drew on the globe wasn't two-dimensional because there are no flat surfaces on spheres. So you can't draw circles on spheres unless you're going to slice a section off. Yeah? What's that called? A chord line. Well, at least on the azimuthal equidistant projection, you can still call them circles. But you didn't take chord lines. You just drew circles with a protractor on a curved surface. Ergo, no longer areas of equal elevation. Circles are two-dimensional. You're going to say that, oh, no, I can draw a circle three-dimensionally. Really? Well, then it's not a circle. Look up the definition of a circle.
They were only able to narrow their location to being...
Good.
That circle of equal altitude is derived from a radius, which is the distance, straight line distance, because that's what a radius is, straight line distance between the GP of the luminary and the GP of the observer. It's a straight horizontal line, which gives you the circle.
Yes. In this particular instance, I did cover this earlier. I said that what Dave wants to do is start telling me how we calculate things on various maps using angles that are acquired from a horizontal plane of reference. Earth's surface, if we're claiming it's Earth we're measuring. Alternative is, I keep pointing out, the hard place of, no, we haven't got any measurements. No measurements of Earth here. in which case they've got no measurements. But if we accept that they are measuring Earth's surface for these areas of equal elevation, circles of equal altitude, then we've already measured Earth's surface as a flat plane. Dave just wanted to whistle past those surface level measurements and start telling us how they don't work on a flat Earth map.
Somewhere within Europe. So I would be interested to hear how Nathan thinks people can plot their locations out.
I don't give a shit. I'm not on a boat. But we measure Earth flat with elevation angles. I'm going to appeal to Dave's elevation angles. So I'm now in the most comfortable position I could be, because this is getting a bit boring, to be honest. But, you know, I just say the same thing again. I appeal to Dave's flat Earth elevation angle measurements in Antarctica. They're from Earth's surface, right? What's that? They're not. They're to a globe. Well, the globe comes from an R-value derivation from surface level measurements, or derivations of dip angle, or minimum elevation angle measurements to Polaris. So no, you're saying you haven't got any surface level measurements, you're not measuring Earth's surface, you're measuring to a ball. So no Earth measurements for you. Oh, you do have Earth measurements, elevation angles in Antarctica. You have got Earth surface measurements. They're flat. They're the ones I'm appealing to. I'll keep appealing to Dave's TFE measurements, as long as he keeps admitting that they are actually Earth surface measurements. If they're not, then obviously they haven't got any measurements to appeal to. Down in Antarctica. Down being a directionality that isn't akin to south, by the way. South is not down.
Oh, if they don't have an accurate map to do it on.
But Nathan,
I haven't got any maps. I'm not a cartographer. All maps are flat. Circles of equal elevation are flat. Elevation angle measurements are flat. Navigation is flat. Distance is linear and straight on the flat maps that we measure. So Earth's flat. That's how it's dealt with. But they're not my maps. They're yours. Okay? Globe projections that are based on flat Earth elevation angle measurements to Polaris, for example, with the latitude system. That's not mine. I didn't measure Earth flat with latitude. You did. You appealed to it. It's in your diagram on your ball. You need a flat Earth for those measurements.
In fact, that was another one.
Yeah.
Just saying, again, this navigation is, people have been navigating for hundreds of years using the same process, you know, obtaining getting your true altitude from an elevation angle measurement used at sea level, yeah, and then plotting these circles of equal altitude on, you know, navigation charts and maps to find the position. And it works. But it all stems from you're taking elevation angles to the luminaries from the horizontal baseline, sea level, yeah? And there's a number of things you've got to do with your charts and some calculations and alterations you've got to do to pinpoint your position. This has been happening for hundreds of years. It's nothing to do with you, Nathan, or me. It's just, this is what happens. This is how it's dealt with. And it's come from elevation angle measurements, triangles.
One of Nathan's hilarious diversions, because someone brought up the problem of not having an accurate flat Earth map.
Sorry, how is that a problem? Are people unsuccessfully navigating on the flat maps we do use with all the globe distortions? No, shockingly, you can still get around with all the maps that do exist that are all flat, using areas of equal elevation, circles of equal altitude, elevation angles off a flat surface level. They're not mine, and I haven't got any problems. So I don't know what you're talking about. You need to make this my problem, that you've got distorted globe projections in between the flat Earth measurements and the flat maps that we use. That's not my problem.
If they were going to be taking a long flight or a sailing trip.
Right, we've got flight data from the NTSB. So the flight data shows that Earth is measured flat. On your trip to Antarctica, we pointed out to the hosts of your trip, Duffy, yeah? Brian pointed out that the NTSB pitch data shows that your nose is up with respect to horizontal for the flight duration on your way to Antarctica, with respect to a southward direction, which is a flat orientation only. So the pitch data used to investigate life and death scenarios on flights shows beyond all doubt Earth was measured flat when you flew in straight and level flight with respect to your measured altitude off sea level. You need sea level, you need straight and level flight, you need the pitch to be nose up with respect to horizontal, you need horizontal to be horizontal. It needs to be straight and level. All of this is axiomatically measuring a flat Earth. This is not contestable. If you want to contest this, you're going to contest the NTSB. And I will hold you personally, Dave Mckeegan, to task and put you on blast for being detrimental to the people whose lives have been lost and investigated with the NTSB pitch data. They measure Earth flat, and axiomatically you can't have a nose above horizontal to be in straight and level flight unless you're measuring your altitude with respect to the sea level shown in pitch data. So when you flew to Antarctica, your host was acutely aware that the data being acquired in the black box on the plane proved Earth was measured flat.
Like, for example, a flight from Sao Paulo to Rio, which is 220 miles,
has black box data showing that the flight would be in straight and level flight. You've got flight levels. If you've ever heard any call to a plane from flight control, they specifically tell them what flight level to be at when in level flight parallel with sea level. That's how Earth is navigated. They'll be using flat maps and flat charts like GPS is Cartesian and flat, because that's how the world operates. And flights rely upon this effect, the lift effect. Being above the horizontal is a prerequisite to be in flight. It's measured from sea level.
It's about 1 hour and 20 minutes. But from Newark, New Jersey to Miami, which is 1,050 miles, it's a 3-hour flight. Like, that doesn't make any sense. And then when you look on the map that they give us, the distance is 5 times bigger.
I'm just confused. What do you mean it doesn't make sense? If those are the flight times, those are the flight times. What doesn't make sense?
I get what you're trying to say, but
Sorry, is it just me or has Dave edited my video? So I've been moaned at for editing Simon down, and yet it seems like Mckeegan's just edited my video. Dave, do you not know that you're not allowed to edit videos? You're not allowed to take chunks out, apparently. I mean, me taking out mitigation from Simon Dan saying, yes, we measure Earth flat locally, but that doesn't mean it's flat. Apparently I'm not allowed to edit those bits out, but Dave's allowed to edit out chunks of my video? What's going on? I assume all the trolls who are in my video saying that I'm not allowed to make a shorts video with Dan's words talking about measuring Earth flat because I've excluded the bits where he says, but that don't mean it's flat. But Dave's allowed to? That seems a bit unreasonable. What's going on? What's with the edit, Dave? What did you leave out? Me pointing out that who gives a crap? I'm not making these maps. Maybe. Who knows? Who cares? Shout out Duncan McLeod. All he does is measure Earth flat, then say, these flat Earth measurements prove a globe. Yeah, that's exactly what he's doing, Dave.
That's true.
To me, the question I was trying to raise is that, if they lied to us about that, well, how do we know they didn't lie about the geography of the continents in the country?
It sounds to me like this guy's pointing out how your globe projections are wrong. Because a minute ago, Dave Mckeegan was appealing to these as all being globe projections. Okay, I mean, if we accept that, which I already did, then they're all wrong, right? These are going wrong. But they're all globe projections, Dave. So your globe projections are wrong, Dave. Doesn't alter how we measure Earth, though, with elevation angles. I'm going to think to rely on your measurements of elevation angles from Earth's surface, right? They were surface measurements, right? They weren't not measurements of a flat Earth. You haven't got any measurements from Antarctica. Why did you go down there? Oh, you did measure Earth flat with elevation angles. On your knees, son. On your knees.
They like the hard place, don't they?
They like to say that their measurements aren't measurements. They're just calculations.
It would affect my life if I decide to go sail around the world thinking that, North America is that way when it's really not.
North is a prerequisite flat Earth only orientation and destination. If you want to go north, look at a compass. That's north. That's south. That's east. That's west. Did anybody see me pointing that way? Is that north? No? Use the compass, anybody? Go and buy yourself a compass. Now understand and acknowledge how flat Earth must be for you to use that tool. Yeah? Because Dan said it in one of his recent videos about me. Something along the lines of, if you use direction, you're secretly a flat earther. Yeah, couldn't have said it better myself. Go and buy yourself a compass and then sink to your knees in acknowledgement of how flat earth must be for you to use any of those directions. That's right.
But, okay, so you're planning on getting a boat soon?
Now, Nathan just goes,
"Hey, what's up, guys? I found this beer left over from some campers, and I'm totally wasted. I'm sorry I bumped the camera."
goes straight into quizzing the person about, are they actually planning the trip? Is this something they're going to immediately be doing?
Yeah, like you going to Antarctica. Are you actually planning on going on an aeroplane? Because you'll be instructed to a flight level, parallel with surface level, measured from sea level, and logged in the black box as a flat earth journey. So yeah, when someone says I'm going to be doing something with maps, I'm like, are you? What are you doing with maps? Going somewhere? Is that not unreasonable? Oh, is it only if I use flat earth measurements and then ignore that we measured earth flat, we can talk about how the maps may or may not work? Yeah? We don't have to go anywhere. But if we're saving our life at sea, we'll be drawing areas of equal elevation on flat charts and flat maps, not on balls in people's kitchens. Nah. But dickheads, they'll argue all day long about how the flat earth measurements work on balls. Yeah?
You've got a boat, have you, that you're going to sail around the world like you've just said you will? Because then it might have an impact on you. Or are you just saying that hypothetically?
No, if I decide to impact me, but I'm not going to. I can't afford to do that.
Okay, I got you. Thanks. But for the hypothetical, you might sail around the world. It will have absolutely no impact on you whatsoever. Then, unless you decide tomorrow that hypothetical, you might want to sail around the world. You put that into fruition, but you don't have any actual plans to do that. Therefore, this literally has no bearing on you.
Yeah. You see, I will rely on things like actual experiences, like first-hand experiences of measuring Earth flat. Like Dave did in Antarctica. What's that? They're not measurements. You just calculated it. It's to a sphere, tangential to it, right? So you haven't got any measurements of Earth's surface then? You haven't got them? Oh, the ones I rely on, the flat Earth measurements of angles to the sun for 24 hours, they're okay as Earth surface measurements. Well, they're the ones I rely on. Dave's measurements of elevation angles to the sun for a 24-hour period. They're the ones I'll rely on, yeah? They're like practical ones that I can actually show someone doing. Here's Dave measuring Earth flat with angles. Yeah? There's him measuring the surface with an elevation angle. That's what I'm going to rely on. This guy, he's not really got much for me. He didn't go to Antarctica. He didn't fly straight and level as per the instructions they were given on the aeroplane deck by flight controllers, telling them what level to be at and to maintain that level while they flew to Antarctica. Yeah, you did that though, didn't you, Dave? I'll rely on what you did, yeah? You flew in straight and level flight, like we can show with the black box data, the life and death data that shows how Earth's measured flat, how the instructions of flight controllers telling people to go to a certain flight level, measured from sea level. There's lots of flat earth prerequisites in all of this, Dave. I'll use you, yeah, rather than this numpty dipshit who's got nothing to offer, yeah? You're much more useful because you've actually measured flat earth, Dave.
It was established that it wasn't something that was going to be happening right away. Nathan just shuts the conversation down.
Yeah, I'll open it back up for you though, Dave. Oh no, I'm wide open to talking about how TFE measured Earth flat with elevation angles to the sun for a 24-hour period. Oh, I love talking about you measuring Earth flat, Dave. If you were here, I'd have embraced it. In fact, someone did call me from Antarctica, and you know what I tried to do immediately? I tried to talk about measurements with them. Does anybody remember what I got as a response? I'll quote the response I got when someone actually was measuring Earth flat, like in a practical way. He tried to deflect to measurements. I mean, maybe the guns are more important. Maybe you being an unfuckable troll is more important than the elevation angle measurements we measure in Antarctica. Maybe where the guns are for the guy who got escorted away at gunpoint 6 months later. Maybe that's more important than the elevation angle measurements I tried to talk about while they were happening, but I kept getting shut down and told that I got a mute button. You can hear that phone call. It's on my channel as a short video, Dave, if you hadn't heard it. Oh, you filmed it, didn't you, Dave? Yeah? You were the one filming me being shut down while I tried to bring the conversation around to the flat Earth measurements you were making there. It seems like Dave's suggesting that when some numpty who's not planning on going anywhere or using any maps gets shut down by me, that's unreasonable. But when I try and talk about measurements in Antarctica while they're happening, Dave just sits behind the camera like an unfuckable golem, listening to me trying to talk about measurements. Why didn't you pipe up then, Dave? You were holding the frickin' camera. Could you not hear me? Oh, did MC Toon orchestrate his mute button so you couldn't hear me saying, what about the measurements you're measuring there? Yeah? Could you not hear me, Dave? Oh, I'll tell you, he'd walked off so you couldn't hear it when you were filming. Yeah? I'll tell you what I said to him. I said, you're measuring Earth flat, Toon, with elevation angle measurements. You know what, Dave? It was the 100th time I'd told him. Yeah? So, I'm going to start this little counter right now with Dave Mckeegan. It's 1. You measured Earth flat, Dave, in Antarctica. I rely on it being a measurement from Earth's surface, not to an imaginary sphere tangential. So if your measurements are from Earth's surface, I'll rely on them as Earth measurements. Unless they're not from Earth's surface and they're not measurements, then obviously I can't rely on you having any measurements of Earth, can I? I mean, what am I going to do? I'll just rely on any measurements of elevation angles ever, because all of them will require Earth be a flat planar surface to measure from. Okay, Dave? Not to, from. Yeah, like you did. Okay? So this dickhead's getting shut down for good reason. But I seem to get shut down when I ask someone in Antarctica measuring Earth flat about their measurements of a flat Earth. I got told I got a mute button, that I'm married to it. I mean, earlier I showed what I was married to. Yeah? Does it all make sense now why I call this guy an unfuckable golem and brought in my wife, who I'm actually married to, as opposed to the mute button that was used on me while I, quote, tried to deflect to measurements? Yeah, I got shut down, I got muted. Yeah, I didn't get to talk about them while you were doing them, Dave. Yeah, the measurements from Earth's surface. Yeah? You were the one measuring them, weren't you, Dave? I'll be relying on those measurements.
It means nothing, but it's been conjured like it means something to you, and you've bought it hook, line and sinker. You feel that this is important now. It isn't. Meanwhile, the plane itself proves we're flying across a flat plane when the plane is measuring the ground with an altimeter for straight and level flight. Now, when that's the case, it is ideally the situation that someone like yourself comes along and thinks it's important to worry about a flight and whether or not the distance matches up with the time versus a map that's come from a globe projection that's based on angled measurements to a star, because then it all becomes...
Is it just me, or is every single thing I've already summarised being summarised even more concisely by me in this video?
So convoluted that you don't really know what it's proving or what it matters. And if you did get an answer to the question, are you suddenly going to get rich just to become a sailor so you can say this is important to you? Because it isn't, I assure you.
Yet, I remember a few years ago, Nathan was raging at a pilot, wanting them fired from their job because they openly stated they accounted for Coriolis when they were flying.
Oh, ground control to Wolfie Clown Show. There's a man inertially watching you from a turning reference frame, therefore you need to make micro adjustments immediately. Oh, this is not going to work out well for you, Dave. You definitely cannot, under any circumstances, like Wolfie Clown Show claimed, correct for Coriolis deflection. Do you know why? Because it's not actual drift. It's an illusion, Dave. It's called the Coriolis deflection. It's a not actual drift. Let me enlighten Dave. Whoops. On what Coriolis effect is. You sat on a roundabout rotating. Man on one side, not rotating. Woman on other side, never gonna fuck Dave. I mean, throwing a ball straight across the top of the roundabout. In a straight line. Man to woman, woman to man, ball goes straight. Dave here, worrying about how he's never going to get laid, being licked by his dog, sat on a roundabout, is turning underneath the ball, watching the ball seem to curve from his vantage point. That is the not actual deflection described by the Coriolis force. It's the force that makes the ball appear to deflect. Now, this is an effect that is alleged to prove Earth is turning. It is exampled by the stars. The example being you watching the stars that aren't really moving seem to move at an alleged 15 degrees an hour because it is claimed you turn underneath. Stars don't really move, like the ball doesn't really drift. That's the claim. Now, if that was the case, then Earth is turning underneath stars as a non-inertial turning reference frame. What's that? Can you hear that? You and your reference frames are ruined, Nathan. Oh, I don't have any reference frames. This is very much the Globe's claim, but we've got two of them, Simon, Dan. Yeah? Can you hear me, Dan? You understand 2 reference frames are needed for your claim. The problem being that if Earth turns underneath an aeroplane, then a flight from Charlotte, North Carolina to Los Angeles would take about an hour and a half instead of 4 hours, because Earth would be turning underneath aircraft for you to look up and see them appear, not actual, but appear to drift. Now, if you're going to suggest, like Wolfie the absolute idiot suggested, account for not actual deflection in your flight, then you're suggesting that you're correcting for an illusion, making you retarded. Now, if Dave is suggesting the same, like Wolfie Clown Show, that ground control to Wolfie Clown Show, you have a man observing you from a non-inertial turning reference frame. Please make micro adjustments for the illusion of Coriolis effect immediately. Is definitely not something you're ever going to actually find in a real aircraft. There is no correction for Coriolis illusions on the panels of aircraft. But it seems that Dave here thinks that we do account for the Coriolis illusion in aircraft flights. Let's hear what he's got to say about it. Tools on planes don't account for illusions, you idiot.
That's you're claiming it's an illusion, not me.
No, it is an illusion. I understand the Coriolis effect definition. Yeah, laugh it up. I want your job. I want you fired. I'm not here to answer your questions. All I'm waiting for is to find out who you are. Is it just me, or did the pilot, alleged pilot, laugh in the face of me saying, I know what Coriolis deflection is, it's an illusion? He didn't say, no, it isn't, I account for it in my flight. He laughed. It's because I'm right. Yeah? It is an illusion. You're not going to account for this in an aircraft. Now, Wolfie 6020, what's the word? He's a fuckwit. You hear me? You watching Wolfie? Wolfie said he's got a little Coriolis correction button. Yeah, I've got his comments to Anthony Riley saved, yeah? Right, Wolfie? You do account for Coriolis deflection. You account for illusions, do you? Nah, ground control to Wolfie crackhead. There's no accounting for Coriolis deflection. It's an illusion. But this guy knows it, and that's why he laughed when I said it in exactly those words. You won't be accounting for an illusion. Response from pilot. Yeah, you won't. After finding out how dangerous you are, because I want to...
Sorry, mate.
Good.
Just saying, Nathan. Right, Brian got some black box data, didn't he? When we was looking at the pitch data of the flight data. Surely there'd be something on there for the Coriolis deflections.
No. As I said,
remember seeing any, do you?
No, there isn't. Because if Earth was turning underneath, we'd have shortened flight times when travelling west.
We don't. Earth isn't turning underneath anything. Like my roundabout example. For Earth to have Coriolis effect, it has to translate into the exact same example, because that's what Coriolis effect is. Roundabout, turning, ball travelling straight. You looking up and going, wow, that ball looks like it's curving. That's Coriolis. So for Coriolis effect to translate into anything beyond the claim that the stars are moving because you are alleged to move underneath, that means you would be alleged to move underneath aeroplanes to cause Coriolis effect. Even the pilots seem to want to claim they're accounting for it, so it's very much understood that Earth is claimed to have this effect of Earth claimed to turn underneath aeroplanes, shortening their flight times when travelling west. Doesn't happen. Earth isn't turning underneath aeroplanes. We'd notice. You'd only have to launch a hot air balloon and the next freaking continent along would come to you. Utterly absurd. There is no Coriolis deflection.
I want to appeal to your employers to have your job taken away.
So he wants a pilot sacked for...
Yes. If you can find that pilot's name, he's claiming that he's accounting for Coriolis effect. I suggest that if you believe Earth is turning underneath the aircraft, then you're putting people's lives in danger, and I want his job. Like I want Wolfie's job, he said the same thing. Wolfie 6020. Yeah? If you think Earth's turning underneath your aeroplane, then I want you sacked. That's correct. Absolutely, I stand by this. What he did in response was laugh at me, by the way. He didn't say I was wrong. He didn't correct me about the illusion that he was correcting for. He laughed in the face of me pointing out it's an illusion. You won't be correcting for illusions. He said he would. You agree. You're not a fucking pilot, though. So you're not going to be putting people's lives at risk because you're incorrectly accounting, when you don't need to, for an Earth that isn't turning underneath to create this effect that this pilot says he's correcting for. He's not. He's a retard, and he should be fired if he's a pilot.
For accounting for Coriolis when flying, because...
You can't account for Coriolis. Wow, Dave. You think you account for not actual deflection observed from a non-inertial turning reference frame, do you? You're a retard. You don't understand how Coriolis effect works. Yeah? Idiot.
Because that's apparently dangerous.
No, it's apparent drift observed from a non-inertial turning reference frame. The only thing apparent is how stupid you are and how stupid Wolfie 6020 is. Neither of you two clowns understand how Coriolis effect works. It is only ever observed from a non-inertial turning reference frame. If you're on the plane, you're the equivalent of the ball, travelling in a straight line. You're never experiencing Coriolis from the ball's perspective because it's experienced from the roundabout, aka the non-inertial turning reference frame. That's not the plane. There is never going to be a Coriolis effect described from the plane. It's like saying, well, when we're on the star, we experience the drift. No, it's claimed that the stars move because your Earth is claimed to turn underneath. Aeroplanes, hot air balloons. You, if you jump up and down. The problem is we'd notice. And it's alleged that you're accounting for it, so they think they'll notice this illusion observed from a non-inertial turning reference frame as you turn underneath something moving straight. So the planes claim to be moving straight, and it's alleged that you turn underneath, shortening its flight time drastically, if it were true. What's that I hear? You and your reference frames are ruined, Nathan? No. No, what I'm doing is pointing out that Earth hasn't got two reference frames because we'd notice. But when I point out that you haven't got two reference frames to notice any drift, planes aren't having reduced flight times as the Earth turns underneath them to cause this illusion of drift, Dan steps in to tell me my reference frames are ruined. Yeah? I haven't got any. I just understand the two that are needed to describe Coriolis effect, and the two that we definitely don't see on an Earth that is absolutely without question not turning. Because we don't have any Coriolis effect. We'd notice Earth would be turning underneath planes.
But he seems to have no concerns about pilots not having an accurate map to know what...
So why would I be concerned about what pilots do? when they fly in straight and level flight. I'll leave that to flight controllers. When they get on the radio and tell the pilot to ascend to flight level X, that's flight level. That's the end of this discussion, because we fly over and navigate Earth flat. If we're drawing on the flat maps with areas of equal altitude, that's circles of equal elevation, and we're drawing parallel eye levels to horizontals, that's surface level or sea level, and we're measuring our altitude off the sea level, perpendicular to it, then that's 4 different ways of measuring a flat Earth, isn't it? Now, that's not up for grabs or debatable. That's how pilots deal with Earth. So there isn't a discussion here. I keep saying it. The illusion that there was a debate about how Earth is was all it ever was, an illusion like Coriolis effect. There is no debate about how Earth is. It's measured flat. Ascend to flight level 20,000 isn't an instruction to go around a curve when the black box data is showing you exactly how straight and level the flight is. And when it comes away from, deviates from flight levels, it's normally because the plane's crashing and the NTSB gets involved. And then they look at why it's not in straight and level flight with respect to the sea level measured with the altimeters. But Earth is always going to be measured flat, no matter how many numpties step into the forum to say, actually, we've got a curved level.
What direction they should be flying, how far they're going to be
flying straight and level.
Traveling, and thus how much fuel they're going to need.
When they fly in straight and level flight.
I mean, we already have...
This is a flat map. Dave, this is a flat map.
World maps that have...
They're flat.
Been used to navigate around the oceans for...
Yeah, successfully on flat maps. A minute ago, you were suggesting that the maps that you were drawing on in crayon with the latitude lines that are measured with Polaris, flat, were what we used to navigate. And here we are with a flat map again. Yeah, it's because we need to draw circles of equal elevation on it with its use of these lines again. Well, what are these lines again, Dave? Why are these on here? Oh, these are the latitude lines, right? The ones that we get from measuring Earth flat with Polaris. Yeah, the origins of this are also globe projection. Yeah? This is called a transverse Mercator projection. This transverse Mercator projection is created from a globe. And the globe it's created from is made using Polaris-based flat Earth measurements. But it's still flat, because the end functionality has to work with elevation angles. So it has to be flat. It has to lay on a flat charting table when you're using it in any capacity to actually navigate. Very rarely would this map actually be used to navigate. It's bollocks. But there we go. It's still flat. Love righteous indignation, suffer no fools, eh? Thank you for the super chat. Kick, click, click.
For centuries. So, if the Earth is flat, then this map must be a distorted view of flat Earth.
I mean, no. Earth is what it is when you view Earth. So you say distorted view, you're dangerously close to reifying this map.
So it should be pretty easy to undistort it back to a flat Earth.
I mean, why would you distort it to a globe to put it flat again? I mean, you're saying, can you reverse engineer the projections? Of course you can. Yeah, I just did. I went backwards through what projects to create this map. From globe to elevation angles to Polaris. So, yeah, I can go through that really easily. I just did.
But we have literally hundreds...
So this is a square version of what is created with circles of equal altitude to Polaris. That's what creates this grid. They're circles. Why is it square? Well, that's part of the distortion process. This comes from a tube. So if you imagine a tube wrapped around a ball, that's how you get this. But where did the ball come from? Well, by creating areas of equal elevation by measuring Polaris, of course.
Hundreds of different flat map projections, and not only can none of them keep accurate distances between all points across Earth's surface...
So none of them are accurate for the globe, then? So you haven't got an accurate globe map, then? I mean, I'm no cartographer. I just know how Earth gets measured. I mean, I wouldn't rely on this. I mean, I think if I was to be pushed into relying on a measurement, I'd rely on Dave's measurement in Antarctica. of elevation angles to the sun for a 24-hour period. That's what I'd rely on. Like, I've got first-hand communication, it seems, with you, Dave, right? Like, from Antarctica, you were filming while I was talking to your compadre about measuring Earth flat with elevation angles. I mean, he told me I was married to a mute button. I mean, I brought my wife that I'm actually married in a minute ago so we could see that I'm not married to any mute buttons, but married to my wife that I produced 2 beautiful children that I love dearly and homeschool, that I don't beat, but I'm accused constantly of criminally abusing them. But there we go. I mean, we've cleared that little problem up, haven't we? I'm not married to anything other than my wife, and you definitely went down to Antarctica and got in touch with me proactively, didn't you? Yeah? You filmed your buddy, at least. Maybe not you personally. But still, I've got this communication line, hopefully, between you and I, David. I just need to know if the measurements of Earth's surface taken from the surface could be called Earth measurements when you had those little degrees next to the numbers for the 2 straight lines to the sun. One of them being the flat Earth surface level that you measured for it to be called an angle. If they're measurements of Earth's surface, I'll rely on those measurements of Earth's surface. Unless you just don't want to call them measurements and, you know, chuck your measurements of Earth away with them being flat and all. I mean, then obviously I can't rely on your measurements of Earth's surface then, can I? If you haven't got any measurements of Earth's surface, I can't rely on them then. But if we have got the TFE measurements of Earth's surface, then I'll be relying on Dave's measurements here, yeah? Not on this crap, where we project balls distorted in their manner like this. Why would I rely on this? I haven't made this.
But then you have issues like the 24-hour sun's not working on them.
But the 24-hour sun's not working on the map is a problem for me when we're measuring the degree to the sun for a 24-hour for flat Earth. I'll just rely on the degree measurement to the sun for a 24-hour period off a flat Earth, if that's okay. I don't care how it works on a map. But you measured Earth flat, right? Unless you don't want that to be a measurement anymore. Like, you can go to the hard place. I mean, that would mean that I'd have to give up that as a flat Earth measurement too. If you haven't measured Earth in Antarctica, like, it's not a measurement, it's just a calculation, right? But if it is a measurement that Dave measured of Earth's surface in Antarctica, I'll rely on that, not how it works on any map, just the fact that it is a prerequisite flat Earth measurement. Otherwise, it's not an angle. Yeah? So we've got angles from Antarctica off the surface that was measured by Dave. That's what I'll rely on, not this shit.
For a few years, the AE map was widely accepted by flat earthers.
Not by me. I immediately debunked it. We did tracking the sun on a flat Earth within 12 months of me being a flat earther. I immediately tested the shit map that I was told was my map when I got here. Here's your map. You're a flat earther now. Here's your map. Is it? Well, really, we better see if this works. Oh, what do you know? It doesn't. Yeah, I already knew this 10 years ago. I was completely ignored. When I was told by Duffy that that's what we're going down to do. Oh, no, I wasn't told by Duffy anything. He didn't contact me. He just perpetually lies about inviting me somewhere. Yeah? I've said that he'll be condemned to hell unless he produces the email exchange where I denied some invitation he offered me. Yeah? Lest he be burnt in hell, he'll produce that email exchange between he and I. And he will be raped by Satan unless he produces that email exchange. It doesn't exist. Duffy's a liar. He didn't invite me to anything. I didn't turn down anything. But what they did, I didn't need to leave my comfortable seat for them to do this. What Dave did was measure Earth flat.
Because it could explain the northern 24 hours.
Northern? Do you own a compass, Dave? Yeah. Go and grab your compass. Yeah. Have a look at what north is. That's north. That's south. That's east. And that's west. You ever used a compass, Dave? Yeah? Not the Boy Scout in Taipei? Yeah? Stuck at home with your Nintendo rather than out in a tent with a compass and a map? Go and look at how a compass works. You don't get to use south, Dave. Yeah? You think south is on the bottom of a ball, clearly demonstrating your complete ignorance of what south and north are. Yeah, they're 2D planar directions. Don't use our stuff, Dave. You don't get to use south. In the words of Simon Dan, if you're using directions, you're secretly a flat earther. It's just when you use those directions It won't be a secret anymore. I'll put you on blast. Don't use south, don't use north. These directions aren't up and aren't down. Not that you've got those on a ball either, perpendicular to a plane of reference. All you've got in your fantasy of a ball that's made with flat Earth measurements is in and out. You don't have south. That's ours. Go look at our compass works, you abject retard.
Our sun by having the North Pole at the centre.
You don't have this use of north ever. You don't get to say the word north.
And the sun circling around it. Even going so far as having Flat Earther D. Marble making the prediction that there would be a 24-hour northern sun based on the AE map. Then, in 2016, he travelled to northern Alaska to see it and record it for himself, and then afterwards he appeared on...
So why are you talking about what Dave did? I've captured that. What's he talking about?
Nathan's show to talk about it.
So I went to Alaska during summer solstice.
Right, this is in a time when we've got images of Snaefell with the lighthouse at the bottom of it. This is after tracking the sun on a flat Earth live. We'd already seen the northern 24-hour sun at this point. We'd already debunked the azimuthal equidistant projection at this point.
And we did our filming by a place called Murphy's Dome.
His footage was even used by Flat Earthers on Nathan's channel.
So?
As an argument that the Earth must therefore be flat.
It's measured flat with the elevation angles like the ones you got in Antarctica. I mean, you've got pictures of it behind you. You got you with your equipment on the ice measuring the flat Earth elevation angle to the sun with a triangle. Do you not remember, Dave? You did a whole video about me about triangles. Do you remember? We took the piss out of you with your speech impediment. Called you triangles because you couldn't say the fucking word. But those triangles are what you measured the sun with, Dave. They're called elevation angle measurements. You require a flat Earth to call it a measurement of Earth. Like I keep saying, you can deny it. It's called the hard place. You can say you didn't measure Earth. Yeah? Toss that shit to the side.
Well, hang on. 24-hour sun, explain that. On your model. Explain that 24-hour sun.
Like, is that Ranty Chemtrails, the swinger? Is he buds with you guys now? This is an ex-flat earther. Yeah? I wouldn't ask if Dave's sharing a wife with him. Yeah, you're definitely not going to the swinger parties, are you? Or maybe Dave's one of those guys that turns up stag. Do you, Dave? Do you go to the parties? Just asking for a friend.
Tell me how that works on your ball.
Well, why don't you answer my question first?
Well, no, because we're actually looking at the 24-hour sun.
Yeah, because it's on screen right now, and someone's gone to quite some effort to get it.
It seems like we've covered this already. I mean, Dave's covering this, right? Yeah, I'd already done this, right? You realise the conclusion then? This is the material. This is tracking the sun on a flat Earth live.
First.
However, that AE map does not allow for a 24-hour sun in the...
Yeah, we found... Did you get that conclusion from me tracking it 10 years ago? Yeah, that was the conclusion I drew before you were even here.
South.
It seems like, yeah, thanks, Dave. So what Dave's now managed to put out into the foray that is the Flat Earth arena is the fact that I've been trying to highlight for ages. What, you want to straw man me with the AE map? We debunked it 10 years ago. Now here Dave is covering the fact that we debunked it 10 years ago. Like, let's just throw it in there, like it wasn't even mentioned up until the point that Dave's covering it now. So this is the first time any of them have even acknowledged tracking the sun off like this 10 years ago.
That would only work if you flip the map to an AE map centred on the South Pole.
So what, the azimuthal equidistant South Pole-centric globe projection? Like on screen now?
But then that would obviously screw up the northern 24-hour sun.
Sorry, no. Maps don't dictate what the sun does. If it's true that you went to Antarctica and, as it is alleged, measured the sun off a flat Earth for the angles for a 24-hour period, then I'll accept that. You went to Antarctica, that Antarctica's that shape on your shirt, I'll accept that. But I'll also accept that you measured Earth flat there and flew there straight and level. I'll accept all of those things. Sorry, what were we arguing about again?
So the existence of two 24...
Good.
Just saying, like before, that map didn't come into origination with a circling sun and moon, did it? Somebody's put that idea on there. That's got nothing to do with the map.
Who cares? It's not your map. Why are you being held to task with what the AE map does? We had a quick look at it 10 years ago and went, it don't work. Didn't take long to figure out. We asked people to join with sunset and sunrise and solar noon. And very quickly we went, this is embarrassing. It doesn't work. We're being told that this is the flat earth we should all believe in, and it doesn't work. Doesn't match where the sun is. So that's the end of that. That map's bunk. Then you start looking at how the map gets created. Well, it's a globe projection. Then you start looking at how the globe gets created. Well, it's a flat earth measurement. Well, that's the end of that discussion. Well, how do you actually utilise Earth when we're measuring it? Not flat. Is there any other way to measure Earth? No. Just flat then. Yeah. Okay, well then Earth's flat then. Yeah, it is if you want to measure it, like Dave measured it. I mean, I'll rely on Dave's measurements if anybody asks me. You got some measurements of it? Flat, Nathan? Yeah, Dave's. TFE. That's what I'm relying on. Unless you want to tell me they're not measurements of Earth's surface. Then obviously you, TFE, they haven't got any measurements of Earth. I mean, that's a bit of a pity. Bit of a waste of time then. You do have measurements. They're elevation angles to the sun for 24 hours. Well, then Earth's measured flat.
24-hour suns, one in the north and one in the south.
So one in the north, that way. You got a compass to hand, Dave. Have a look on your compass and look which direction north is. It's that way, yeah? Then have a look at which way south is. It's that way, yeah? Yeah, okay, I'm with you so far. So we've got a sun circling in the south and a sun circling above my head in the north. They're above my head in both instances, right? Gotcha so far. What we arguing about again? Do we measure elevation angles to the sun in north and south scenarios? We do. So we measure Earth flat over there and we measure Earth flat over there, do we? Okay. I'll rely on those measurements you got of the sun when you were down there. I don't know why you would be calling south down. That's not what my compass points south with. I don't know why we'd call it down. That seems stupid. I mean, especially when the flight data shows that you flew straight and level. Like they were instructed specifically. Unless you're telling me that they defied what the flight controller told them. When they got on the radio and said, ascend to 20,000 feet. Flight level. Did the pilot say, no, we're going down to Antarctica, so screw you and the flat flight level you insist we fly at? Is that what they did? No, you see, we've got NTSB flight data that shows that you're flying straight and level flight with respect to sea level, perpendicular to it. So, yeah, there isn't really an argument to be had here.
Has to be accounted for on flat Earth, but they can't, which is why flat earthers just seem to avoid it. Exactly as Nathan keeps doing. Now, whilst we were in...
What's this? Would this be measuring the elevation angle to the sun? Yes, it is. This was levelled to the plane of reference, Dave. Is this your tool? These are the measurements I was appealing to. Oh, what do you know? This is why I'd want to talk to somebody in Antarctica about their measurements. I mean, I vaguely remember somebody calling me from Antarctica. I think his name was MC Toon. He's gone on to claim them a child abuser. But I tried to talk to him about his measurements when he was doing this. In fact, this guy was the one filming him, telling me that I'm married to a mute button. I mean, I disproved that with my wife and kids earlier. But aside from being told I'm married to a mute button, I didn't get to talk about the measurements. These measurements. I was told I was deflecting to them. Meanwhile, what's being measured here is an elevation angle to the sun. So I think it's only best that we define what an elevation angle is. So, elevation angles. I think we'll go to radar tutorial. Radar. We're all aware of what radar is and what a tutorial is and what the website that would be tutoring you in using radar would be. And this is how they describe, or define, I should say, an elevation angle. Buys himself enough time to find the definition. Measurement of elevation angle. Elevation angle is the angle between the horizontal plane and the line of sight measured in the vertical plane. The reference direction, i.e. an elevation angle of 0 degrees, is a horizontal line in the direction of the horizon. That's an elevation angle as defined by radar tutorial. So, an angle measured between a horizontal plane and a line of sight measured in the vertical plane then. So we've got a horizontal plane measurement. Wonderful. I'm glad you put it on screen, Dave, for my audience's benefit. Wonderful.
Antarctica in December, actually observing and recording the southern 24-hour sun.
Yeah, you measured the angles. Let's just point out south and the sun's altitude angle with respect to its measurement off a flat Earth. That you measured. Yeah, Dave. Yeah, we all remember you measuring Earth flat in Antarctica.
The group who was there, MC Toon, joined a live stream that Nathan was hosting.
It's McToon, not the real McToon.
Hello. I'm in Antarctica. How you doing?
Hey, dude.
The sun did not set 24 hours.
Oh, great. So he immediately affirmed the elevation angle measurement with respect to a planar surface for a 24-hour period. Wonderful.
Okay.
Yep. Turns out, Nathan.
Did you hear me say, you know, Earth's measured flat? Did we all hear that? It sounds like you can hear it on Dave's recording.
The sun did not set 24 hours.
Okay.
Yep. Turns out, Nathan. Hey.
Could you hear that?
I heard it.
The sun did not set 24 hours.
Okay.
Yep. Turns out, Nathan. Hey, Nathan, you lied. Robert Shortman lied.
Earth's measured flat.
Is it just me, or was I trying to talk about the measurements? Thanks for keeping it in the video, Dave. But that sounds like what I've just been talking about for about the last 25, 30 minutes. Like a guy called me from Antarctica, and I immediately tried to talk about the measurements that I'm appealing to from you, Dave. Your measurements of a flat Earth. The elevation angle measurement that you took from Earth's surface. Unless it wasn't a measurement of Earth's surface, of course. We'll have to get that cleared away. I mean, obviously, if you've got no measurements of Earth, like the ones I was desperately trying to talk about with Toon here, when he called me proactively, this creepy-ass stalker, who even when he's at the ends of the Earth still calls me proactively. This is a man currently calling me a child abuser, by the way. A man proactively calling me from Antarctica. Creepy-ass stalker.
Nathan, the Bureau has 15,000 agents. There's only less than 250 of them undercover certified. I knew.
You lied. You lied, Nathan. Nathan, you are changing the topic, Nathan.
Am I changing the topic? It seems like now you've left Antarctica, Dave wants to talk about measurements. But when I bring them up specifically while you're measuring Earth flat, you want to talk about guns? This is before someone was escorted away at gunpoint by the Chilean government because they didn't have the forms filled out like these numpties did when they flew in straight and level flight to go and measure elevation angles to the sun for a 24-hour period off a flat Earth. Just so we're clear who's deflecting.
I am walking around outside in Antarctica right now. I've got 10 people here with me. That was beautiful. I talked to you about Antarctica. You deflected to measurements.
What, like the elevation angle measurements that I'm appealing to in regards to how Earth got measured? I mean, why would I appeal to the measurements? I mean, surely I should have concerned myself with that 8-year-old comment where I pointed out that the guy who went 6 months after you would be escorted away from Antarctica by gunpoint if he hasn't got the films filmed in. Well, that turned out to be absolutely correct. But it seems like I deflected to measurements. Why would I do that? Oh, because it's quite important to see how Earth's measured if you're measuring it there. But that's a deflection.
Wait a second.
Good.
Did they go to Antarctica to prove that there was military and guns there?
No.
Or were they going there to prove that the Earth was a globe or flat?
They were going there to disprove the azimuthal equidistant North Pole globe projection. We'd already debunked it 10 years ago, and Dave seems to have found that out after he went. It's like is him playing sections of Tracking the Sun on a Flat Earth Live where we'd already debunked the AE map 10 years ago. But that's just now, 7 months later. I mean, who cares that this was obviously a straw man all along, and we already knew the map they insisted we said didn't work. But meanwhile, I tried to deflect to measurements. Yeah? Yeah, I did, yeah. It's because the measurements are flat, yeah? You measured them.
Since 2016, he's been saying if you go...
Right, since 2016, you mean you found a comment from 2016? Yeah, that's now 9 years ago that he found a comment where I talked about people being escorted away at gunpoint. Someone was, literally 6 short months later, someone was escorted away by the Chilean government. Yep, from Antarctica. Yeah, so this 8-year-old straw man was just tuned deflecting from the measurements of a flat Earth. These measurements, yeah? Go ahead, whoever's making that noise.
Toon was deflecting to guns because he knew what would happen with the measurements.
Yeah, you tried to deflect to guns, Toon. You tried to deflect to child abuse, Toon. It didn't work. You still measured Earth flat, though, didn't you?
Go to Antarctica, you will be faced with gunpoint and turned away.
Yes, that's absolutely correct. And it happened 6 months after these numpties went and measured Earth flat there. So it's almost like this straw man was kind of inconsequential, but ultimately I was proven right if you want to take the straw man as what we were arguing about. It doesn't really matter. They're measuring Earth flat there. But what's that? I tried to deflect to measurements. Where are the guns? Escorting someone away 6 months later because they didn't have all the thumbs filled in. But meanwhile, you measured Earth flat there. Okay? That's the real argument.
Where's the guns, Nathan?
Escorting someone away 6 months later. But Earth's being measured flat behind you, Toon. Where's your measurements, Toon? Yeah, you're measuring Earth flat, lads. So we all clear that this gun shit was just a massive straw man to deflect from measurements. Like he said, he tried to deflect to measurements. So was Antarctica about guns? Or was it about measurements? The ones I'm deflecting to? Yeah, I'll keep deflecting to them because Earth got measured flat there. Like, Earth is always measured flat. By everyone, always.
Where's the guns?
They're kept by the Chilean government, the guards that they sent to take the guy off the Antarctic ice 6 months after you went there because he didn't have the forms filled in. Did you not know? What did you think you were filling the forms in for? Are these guys retards? Did they not know why they were filling the forms in? I mean, seriously, was Toon dropped on his head? Did he think he was filling the forms out so that there would be guns there? I mean, is he a crackhead? Like, seriously? I mean, I didn't address this till now because it would seem like it was some importance if I was to address the straw man. But now that someone has been escorted away at gunpoint, having not filled out the form this crackhead filled out, so he wasn't escorted away at gunpoint, exactly as I pointed out, 8 years before they went on a comment they dug out. I mean, they found this comment so they could scream my name into the snow. Well, Toon could while Dave was filmed. Yeah, he likes to watch, right? Do you like to watch your ranty too? Meanwhile, he deflected from the measurements that I immediately spoke of when he started talking through me about guns.
I don't see any guns, Nathan!
Well, maybe if you hadn't have filled out the forms or tried to wander off the very limited area that they let you measure Earth flat with, you'd have seen some guns, like the guy who came 6 months after you saw some guns as they escorted him away. But I mean, you're a fucking crackhead. Like, literally, you don't realise why you're filling out the forms to go there, it seems. Like, that's really stupid.
You lied!
Well, no, I didn't. 6 months later, someone came along and confirmed exactly that, you stupid crackhead. But you need to scream my name into the snow over this. So now we've dealt with the guns, can we get back in touch with reality and the measurements that he made, or are you still going to claim I'm deflecting to him?
And the interaction Action that followed, Nathan loves to bring up.
What's that? You want to know where the guns are? The guns?
Yeah, I do. I like bringing this up, don't I? Do you know why? Because it makes Toon look fucking nuts. That's why, yeah? Because he's literally ranting my freaking name, allegedly, into the Antarctic abyss, screaming about guns. Yeah? To anybody watching, he's a nutter. If they've watched him go through the process to get there, they know of the arduous task it was to fill out all the forms and get permission to go there, and the expense involved to go there, only to have this shit absolutely without question affirmed 6 months later when the Chilean government escorted a guy away. I mean, really, you're still leaning into this, Dave?
What's that? You're going to put the phone down on me and tell Mckeegan that I've tried to deflect with measurements?
Yeah, that's literally what just happened. Dave just played it. Thanks, Dave. Nice that you're keeping it concise.
Really? Maybe Toon will do better next time he's in Antarctica measuring a flat Earth. But in the meantime, maybe you can help me out here, Duffy. Because I got the phone put down on me when I was proactively contacted by half your participants. They were filming themselves while they screamed my name into the Antarctic snow with frustration over the elevation angle measurements that you absolutely measured down there, but now seem to be denying.
Nathan keeps bringing this up as an apparent validation for flat Earth, because on the call he kept talking about the Earth being measured flat.
Oh, did I? I only heard Toon talking through the top of me, claiming that I was married to a mute button on my end of the conversation, and him shouting and then putting the phone down my ear and then talking to you. That's what I got. I got told I was deflecting to measurements and that I was married to a mute button. I mean, I tried to talk about measurements.
And the MC Toon said that Nathan had deflected to measurements.
Where are the guns, Nathan? Got turned into a song. Did it get addressed? Why was he saying, quote, he tried to deflect with measurements and then screaming about guns into the Antarctic snow while saying my name? Well, because I pointed out that he measured Earth flat, that's why. And that as a consequence of those measurements that, quote, he tried to deflect with, end quote, McToon.
As though that is apparently proof that the Earth is flat and...
Oh, that's a good job I've got Simon down here.
On your knees, acknowledging the linear distance, perpendicular elevation.
Listen to these words, because this is unedited. This section is exactly how it came off Simon Dan's video, with me describing the flat Earth prerequisite elevation angle. So we're absolutely abundantly clear what Simon Dan agrees to. Unedited, it's this: a straight line along the ground and a line up to the top of the mountain. Now, this top of the mountain could be the sun. It's the exact same measurement. An angle with respect to a horizontal plane of reference. For height, that's what height is. Elevation of the sun in this case, with an elevation angle. It's the height measured with an angle, also known as an elevation angle. So listen to what Dan's agreeing to.
And flat Earth prerequisite elevation angle.
Yeah, okay. On a local scale, I will acknowledge all of that.
So Dan acknowledges, on a local scale, we measure Earth flat with elevation angles. He later concedes that in this example specifically, it's 50 kilometres of measured flat Earth. And that's okay, end quote, says Simon Dan, because it's not me saying it, it's how Earth is measured by Dave in Antarctica. So Dave measures Earth flat with elevation angles that Simon Dan understands implicitly are a flat Earth prerequisite. A local level, like for convenience, over small distances, small 50-kilometre distances, it's locally flat for convenience of measuring Earth. Just so we're clear. Yes, so when it comes to Dave denying these flat Earth measurements, I'll cite Simon Dan, who understands that Earth will be measured flat for convenience, because that's
how we must therefore be threatened by Nathan's claims.
Oh, sorry, that's very telling. Do you feel threatened, Dave? Oh, bless. I don't expect you to feel anything. But I take that as absolute confirmation of the projection that's going on here. So you feel threatened by me, do you? Yeah, I know. Yeah, I'm acutely aware of how threatened you all feel by me. That's why you're getting ahead of the book, right? Yeah? I know you're threatened by me because you measure Earth flat, and I use you as an example of exactly that. Now, like I keep saying, you can deny that you've measured Earth, but that would mean you haven't got any Earth measurements, wouldn't it? Meanwhile, the measurements Dave made of Earth were flat. Like Dan just explained, he'll accept at a local 50-kilometre level for convenience of the flat Earth measurement that we definitely do make. Because Trig's okay, says Simon Dan, when we measure Earth flat, which we do.
That Toon felt so triggered and needed to call in.
Toon felt triggered and did need to call in. That's what happened. I didn't call him proactively. He used the expensive, complicated communication technology to call me, like a creepy old stalker who's left hundreds of messages underneath my videos. Literally, I've numbered them. And my response is telling him he's measuring Earth flat with angles. Elevation angles, the same ones you measured, Dave. I've told this creepy old fucker hundreds of times, no exaggeration, what he did with his measurements of Earth. Elevation angles, that's what he measured, and you measured, and I've told him when he's proactively calling me from the snow to scream about guns.
Unfortunately for Nathan, he's overlooked a few points.
Have I?
Firstly, the reason that MC Toon called into the show in the first place was nothing to do with him feeling threatened by Nathan's claims.
Sorry, did I ever suggest that there was a word utilisable in this manner in terms of how threatened Toon feels? I think they've had a little conversation. And you're now apologising for how Toon felt threatened. Because that's what's going on. I don't want Toon to feel threatened by me. He's entitled to his belief. He doesn't have to feel threatened by his own measurements. And that's all I'm pointing out, your measurements. But this is all very telling, isn't it? Yeah? Did you get the impression that Toon felt threatened? Show me on the doll where he got touched.
The only reason that Toon joined Nathan's stream
is because he's a creepy stalker who's been contacting me hundreds of times. Yeah, like stalkers do. Yeah? He also goes around accusing me of criminal activity and abusing my children. So he contacts me hundreds of times. This was the 100th. I counted them. So for the 100th time, Toon proactively contacted me. It's because he's creepy. That's why. And apparently because he feels threatened by me.
Was because yours truly he is...
If he does feel threatened by me, he just can go away. Yeah? Just bugger off. He doesn't have to come to me to leave hundreds of messages. He doesn't have to do that. Yeah? He doesn't have to get hundreds of responses, the same response, actually, every single time. I've never left anything other than the same response to Toon. You measured Earth flat with elevation angles, Toon. It's in your 10k challenge. Same thing I said to him on the phone. You heard it, yeah? That's what I said to him every single time this creepy old man keeps contacting me.
Suggested that he should. And my reason for the suggestion was nothing to do with Oakley's claims either. Instead, it was all part of a plan that I actually laid out in one of these videos 6 months before the trip. Now, with regards to verifying that the footage is being recorded in December and not being faked at some other time of the year earlier in the Northern Hemisphere, we could record ourselves watching and engaging with a relevant live stream that's happening at that time whilst we're in Antarctica. So, for example, if there are any flat earthers or globers who live stream on, say, December 16th, and we record ourselves in Antarctica watching that stream, commenting on it and showing the comments that are happening at that time.
So will this change how you measure Earth there? For validating that you're there. Okay, I accept. I accept that you called me from Antarctica. In fact, it was the first words out of my mouth. Did you hear them? I said, okay. Did you not hear me? I'm pretty sure you heard me saying, okay. Then I went on to talk about the measurements of Earth, though, didn't I, Dave? Yeah? Maybe that's why Mckeegan and Toon are threatened by me. Oh, I feel so touched. Oh, isn't this sweet?
That offers a pretty easy...
Honestly, it's not that we're obsessed with you and creepy stalkers. We decided we were going to call you 6 months in advance.
Hold on. Hold on. Hold the proceedings. Stop them right now. When do you do your show? Monday to Friday, correct? This show was on a Sunday. You just happened to go live. So how did they prearrange all of this? I'd like to know.
I thought you'd last longer. I was getting a pop. Why did they know that I would be streaming? No, he's not saying that. He's saying that any streamer. He's not saying me specifically.
Easy way to verify that the footage was recorded there and then.
So why would you need that? So you're automatically assuming that people won't believe you? Why would you assume that? I don't ever automatically assume that I'm going to be disbelieved. Why would I assume that? Unless I was a liar. So I've got to automatically assume that people are going to disbelieve me because I'm a liar. That's what he's seeming to hint at here. I don't get it. You need to you're not trustworthy.
No, you got to cover your tracks when you know you're bullshitting.
Best if it's a flat earthers live stream, because obviously we couldn't have CGI'd that in advance. I knew flat earthers would try and go down the rabbit hole of saying that we faked the trip in the north 6 months prior to TFE.
So if you knew that was what a flat earther would say, why didn't I say it when you got me on the phone? I mean, Dave, you're wrong on so many levels, aren't you?
So me filming ourselves in Antarctica whilst we were interacting with a live stream that was taking place in December was a very easy way to then validate exactly when we were there.
I see. So you validated that you were there measuring flat Earth elevation angles to the sun when you were there, allegedly measuring flat Earth elevation angles to the sun. Well done.
Having it be a flat earthers live stream would be even better.
Because then when we talk about measurements, you can tell me I'm married to a mute button and put the phone down on me.
Because then they can't say we pre-planned the whole stream.
I didn't say you pre-planned it though, did I? You see, Dave, this falls apart with me responding to you going, no, I didn't say you'd pre-planned it or that you weren't there. I said, okay, when he told me he was on the Antarctic snow. And then I said, you measuring Earth flat. And then I got told I was married to a mute button. So you were contacting us because you would assume people would deny that you were there? Because that's what your instinct told you flat earthers would do. You were proven wrong by me, though, weren't you? Because that's not what I did. At all. Did I? What I did do was point out you measured Earth flat and got rumpused and told I got a mute button immediately, didn't I?
In advance. And it being Nathan's stream was a perfect choice because
he immediately told us that we weren't there.
He pretty much hates everybody who...
Sorry, that's not the reason why it would be perfect. It would be perfect if I affirmed the reason you were doing it. The reason you were doing it is because you assumed we said you weren't there, would be the reaction you got. But you didn't get that reaction. So what it actually was perfect for was proving that you're a fuckwit, that your assumptions about what would happen were wrong, and that your predictions were shown to be incorrect. Meanwhile, what did happen was me telling you measured Earth flat. Notice I wasn't asking a question when I told Toon he measures Earth flat for the 100th time. It's a statement of absolute fact that you can hear me telling Toon. Yeah, that's why he's threatened by me. It's because I'm not asking him to debate this. It's no debate to have. I'm telling him he's measuring Earth flat because he is. That's what's happening. I'm not suggesting you weren't there, Dave. You were proven to be a retard in that regard. It wasn't perfectly demonstrating your justification for why you were doing it according to that clip, because otherwise I'd have said, well, you're not really there. Instead, I immediately accepted his declaration that he was on the Antarctic ice and told him he's measuring Earth flat for the 100th time.
Went on that trip. So there's no way he would be helping us out in any sort of deception.
Well, no. I mean, I'm leaning into your measurements, aren't I, Dave? If you measured Earth's surface, I accept your measurements. With the little degree symbol after a number for the sun that went round all day? You measured the angles, right, off the surface. I accept them. I'll even accept that they're from Antarctica. It might have been that they set up a big tent with tellies and pretended that they got a sun by putting a, you know, like in the dome. But I don't care. I don't care if it was on the Antarctic surface or in the dome in Vegas. I couldn't give a crap. What they measured required Earth be flat. It's part of the definition of the angle measurement. If it isn't a flat surface level measurement of Earth, they haven't got any measurements of Earth. If it is a surface level of Earth with a degree next to it, then one of the lines is the surface level for a 24-hour period. Because that's what a definition of an elevation angle is. Whether they like it or not, I'll be relying on their measurements until they deny that they've got Earth measurements. And then I'll turn around to them and go, so you haven't got any Earth measurements then? And when they go, yeah, I have got elevation angles to the sun for 24 hours from Antarctica, they'll be on their knees acknowledging how flat Earth must be to measure those angles, won't they?
So really, Nathan was just a pawn in a plan. And the funny bit...
Pawn? No, not for the last 3 days. They've turned it off, the British government bastards.
...is Nathan was definitely trying to deflect. For years, he...
Sorry, deflect to measurements?
Get better and better.
Yeah, I was trying to deflect to measurements, Keegan.
He's been saying that you cannot go to Antarctica.
Oh, have I? So, when I had someone on the phone from Antarctica, the first thing out of my mouth was, "You're not in Antarctica." No, it wasn't, was it, Dave? We just heard what I said. Let's just recreate the conversation. Yeah. I am a creepy stalker calling you for the 100th time. I'm in Antarctica on the snow. Okay. You measure Earth. You got a mute button. Where are the guns?
And for years, he's then referenced someone he interviewed on his channel who says they worked in Antarctica and didn't see a 24-hour sun.
That's correct. Yeah, his name's Robert Shortman. He attested to not seeing a 24-hour sun, having spent 18 months down there. Now, you can take that as you will. I haven't been to Antarctica. I've got no need to. When these dudes, what was the word? What was the word he used? Afraid of me. What was the word? Threatened. When these two dudes who were threatened by me went to Antarctica, they measured Earth flat. I didn't need to go anywhere. But the first-hand testimony of somebody who spent 18 months down there, named Robert Shortman, when interviewed by me, he gave testimony that he did not see a 24-hour sun for any of the periods that he was down there. That's the testimony I got. That's what he told me. Those are just facts.
Are you able to answer the question about 24 hours of light in Antarctica on a...
I've interviewed a guy who's not experienced 24 hours of daylight in Antarctica. He spent 18 months there.
Yeah, sounds like I'm affirming the same thing in this video that Mckeegan's got, so yeah.
Have you ever spoken to anybody ever that's been in Antarctica? Because I spoke to a chap who was a plumber on one of the rigs that's out there and spent 18 months there and categorically stated he didn't experience 24 hours sunlight.
And just before MC Toon joined, Nathan was watching the live stream that was hosted on the TFE YouTube channel at midnight in Antarctica.
Is he using his camera? Is he using his camera or your camera here?
The stream was literally...
No, it wasn't. I was watching a pre-recorded video of me taking apart the gravity claim and describing how perpendicular to a plane of reference they'd need down to be. That's what I was doing. That was what was on screen in that little clip. Unless I'm very much mistaken. Let's just double check.
At midnight in Antarctica.
What's this picture-in-picture that he's put in? He's suggesting that I'm watching a live stream. Nah. What's this? This isn't me. What's this?
Using his camera? Is he using...
Sorry, he's taken a clip of me with a paused video that's not the live stream. That's not live from Antarctica. And he's saying that this is what I'm watching. I'm not watching this. This is his video. This is him filming Toon. Why are you lying?
His camera or your camera here?
The stream was literally called It's Midnight in Antarctica. The stream was all about the fact that we were in Antarctica, it was midnight and the sun had not set. And MC Toon joined in to talk to Nathan about the fact that we were in Antarctica and the sun had not set.
Yeah, we heard me saying okay when he told us he was in Antarctica. That was the first words out of my mouth. You suggested that
you hear
called...
QE?
Yeah. That's on my stream. This is from the Sunday. This section. I don't know what this is. This is his video overlaid.
I'm in Antarctica. How you doing?
Hey, dude.
The sun did not set. 24 hours.
And after Nathan...
But you didn't play my response, which was okay. So why didn't we hear me saying, you're not in Antarctica, I deny? Why wasn't that there? Immediate acceptance, so Dave was proven wrong. His prediction didn't come to fruition.
Had first tried quizzing to see...
Sorry, you're going to relinquish your clip that you just played of you suggesting that flat earthers would deny you being there? That didn't happen though, did it, Dave? Just going to whistle on past that, I guess.
Had people actually been awake to watch the sun for the entire time?
So you've been up for 24 hours straight? Wow.
I have. So has Dave Mckeegan.
Yeah, the reason I asked that is because when I did Tracking the Sun on a Flat Earth Live, I didn't know whether or not I'd be able to have the stamina to stay up for 24 hours. Like, it's been, I don't know, 25 years since I did that. Like, I was a bit of a party animal back when I was a kid, and there's definitely many periods that were longer than 24 hours that I was capable of staying up and partying. But not at that particular point. I remember it being incredibly difficult from the comfort of my own home to stay awake for a full 24 hours. I mean, I did it twice. But if you're out, having travelled and journeyed and all of the exhaustion of doing what they were doing, I was immediately keen to find out, have you actually stayed up for the full 24 hours? So that I could affirm that whoever was claiming they'd literally seen the sun for 24 hours had literally seen the sun for 24 hours. And that would involve not sleeping. So yeah, I was absolutely keen to find out if the people alleging to see a 24-hour sun had actually stayed up for 24 hours.
Both you and Dave stayed up 24 hours?
That's right.
And failed very quickly because I had. He stopped wanting to talk about the fact that we were in Antarctica and that the sun didn't set.
No, I didn't bring that up. You told me that you were in Antarctica and the sun didn't set up. Didn't set. I didn't not want to talk about it. That was very specifically what your buddy said. Why are you telling your audience that's what I didn't want to talk about? Have you got a fucking crystal ball? Divining my thoughts much? How do you know what I didn't want to talk about? What I did want to talk about was measurements. Did I get to talk about them? Did we discuss elevation angles on this phone call? Because that's what Dave measured. It's the ones I'm going to be appealing to when anybody asks me about what flat earth measurements are the ones that were made at TFE. Dave's measurements specifically. The elevation angles. Unless he wants to deny that they're angles or that they're measurements of Earth's surface, then obviously they haven't got any measurements to appeal to. But if they are measurements of Earth's surface with a little circly degree symbol after a number, then we're measuring Earth flat. It is just that simple.
And instead just wanted to draw the conversation to parroting his claims about the Earth being measured flat.
Oh, it seems so unreasonable that I would want to parrot my claims about how Earth is measured. It seems only reasonable that we talk about whether or not there's any guns there. That's much more reasonable. Or whether or not you're there at all, even though I immediately accepted it. That would be much more reasonable that I didn't want to talk about something that I immediately accepted. Okay, Dave. Okay.
I think that counts 10.
You don't need a second job.
I do. I need a third job. I'm so poor.
We have between 8 and 10 cameras that have been filming the entire time.
So here we are talking about the cameras, and they're acquiring the measurements. So let's see if we get to talk about those measurements. Okay.
You know Earth's measured flat, though, right, Toon?
So I started to respond, you know Earth's mesh, and before I finished my sentence, Toon was interrupting me. Did you hear that? Let's hear it again.
Between 8 and 10 cameras that have been filming the entire time.
Notice there's a nice long pause, so I know he's finished speaking.
Okay. You know Earth's measured flat, though, right, Toon?
Notice how a pause is left, I start talking, Toon starts interrupting.
Hey, Nathan, you lied.
You know Earth's measured flat, though, right, Toon?
So MC Toon was entirely on point that Nathan tried to deflect. What Nathan hasn't quite grasped is that deflect...
Sorry, we're talking about measurements of Earth, and I'm being charged with deflection when it comes to the measuring Earth in Antarctica. Are you having a laugh? Are you really appealing to this, Dave? I can't quite fricking believe my ears. You're going to double down on behalf of Toon? Really? Do you not want to talk about your measurements? I mean, I think I've mentioned them on the show about 20 times, about whether or not I can appeal to these measurements that you made, Dave. So am I just deflecting here? Have you not actually got any Earth measurements? Is my dream of using your measurements going to be tarnished when you point out that you haven't got any, Dave? And that I shouldn't be deflecting to them? Really? Oh my God.
Deflecting to the topic of measurements does not actually mean that what he's saying about the topic of measurements is accurate.
So what am I saying about him, Dave? What am I saying?
If Nathan had instead repeatedly avoided talking about Antarctica by claiming that tigers are insects...
Sounds like a bit of a non sequitur fallacy you've got going on here, Dave. Tigers and insects don't really have much to do with the elevation angles that you seem to be deflecting to tigers with. He tried to deflect to tigers.
Is this guy retarded?
He's trying to deflect to tigers and insects, it would seem.
Dave, are you retarded?
Sorry, that friend that I was talking about is actually asking you personally, were you dropped on your head, Dave? Asking for a friend.
And then said he tried to deflect to insects.
No, I didn't say he tried to deflect to insects. Your friend said I tried to deflect to measurements when I tried to talk about measurements. Yeah, I did. I'm still doing it. I say Earth is measured flat because it is. And suddenly, all the biggest names in anti-flat Earth are coming out against little old me. What do you know? One after the next. Isn't that interesting? Is it because you're slightly intimidated by me? Is that what it is? Threatened.
That does not then mean that...
Again?
Why did Toon immediately deflect to an alleged lie? What does a lie have to do with them being in Antarctica? Wasn't that the initial deflection, you retard? Nancy retard. This is Nancy nonsense. It's a big nothing burger from a retard. You know why? Because your globe's imploded. That's why. Do 7 offsuit.
Tigers are actually insects. It just means that Nathan tried to deflect to a different topic.
Sorry,
right after McKeegan deflected initially to you lied, Nathan. Right, Dave?
Sorry, is it just me, or is he suggesting that what they were literally doing there, which was taking measurements of Earth, when I tried to discuss what they were literally doing there, the very purpose of their being there, I'm accused of deflecting? Is that really what's happening?
Yep. Yeah, after he deflected, immediately to say, you lied, Nathan. Didn't you hear it? Should I say this all over again? Did you get it?
Yeah, I did get it.
Which is exactly what he was doing, and what he continues to do to this day, by deflecting to claims that heights are a flat Earth measurement.
They are. It's called altitude. So in the case of measurements with respect to surface level or sea level, you'll need surface level or sea level. Let's have a listen to Tom and Dan.
Measure Earth flat. And yes, local land surveys use flat approximation for convenience. The elevations are measured from the flat Earth headquarters. Okay, look, Land surveyors do often use flat plane approximations over short distances. 6,000 feet above sea level means the average level of the ocean, and sea level is assumed to be flat ground forever. Since elevations are measured as vertical distances from sea level.
Did you hear that, Dave? Vertical distances from sea level. So, Dave, are you a spastic, or were you dropped on your head? Which one is it? Because Dan seems to understand. I mean, Dan's reasonably, I don't know what to say, really. He looks stupid, but I mean, at least he understands that the vertical elevation for a height, that's altitude, is from sea level. But you'll need a sea level for that. So when you say, I claim heights are flat Earth measurement, they are, Dave.
It means nothing, but it's been conjured like it means something to you, and you've bought it hook, line and sinker. You feel that this is important now. It isn't.
Sorry, this is the clip from the guy that was trying to strawman me with how two different maps would compare and contrast when I'm pointing out that flights would be above surface level in straight and level flight. So I don't know why Dave has now hopped back to this little clip. Maybe we'll find out why this non sequitur clip is now relevant.
Meanwhile, the plane itself proves we're flying across a flat plane.
Yeah, like I say in the clip.
And the plane is measuring the ground with an altimeter for straight and level flight.
Except this idea that you need a flat surface to measure a height from very quickly fails again when you...
Sorry, I want you to go and tell NTSB that their data fails. Apparently, according to what Dave Mckeegan just said, the data acquired by the NTSB when investigating people's death fails, according to Dave. I expect Dave to write a letter that I'll vet to the NTSB that clarifies exactly how their data fails in this respect. This is a fucking outrage. People's lives get lost. And NTSB, that's the National Transportation Safety Board, investigates said deaths with the use of pitch data. Now, according to this man, that data's wrong. So therefore, the life and death investigations of the NTSB are wrong, according to Dave. What an outrage. So you're going to tell the NTSB that they're wrong? Because apparently I'm wrong with this information. I've got it from the NTSB. So are they wrong? Dave? In this regard, I'm not appealing to Dave's flat Earth measurements in Antarctica. It's the black box data that would have measured level flight for him travelling south and as investigated by the NTSB black box data. It's life and death information Dave's saying is wrong. So, let's see you tell the NTSB that they are wrong. I want to see the letter that you write out if that's the case. Let's hear him say it again.
With an altimeter for straight and level flight.
As shown in NTSB pitch data when studying life and death crash investigations.
Except this idea that you need a flat surface to measure a height from very quickly fails again when you...
Well, then you need to tell the NTSB this, and I expect you to write to the families that have obviously not had their deaths of family members investigated correctly when the NTSB shows the black box pitch data with respect to horizontal flights and their pitch above the horizontal for prolonged periods of time by their scale shown with miles on their pitch data taken from black boxes. How dare you pour scorn on the NTSB investigating people's death? This is an absolute outrage. It will not stand.
You realise that if you need a flat surface to measure a height from...
The NTSB data measures their heights off a flat surface. That's a fact. And they do it when investigating people's death. This man is disgusting. He's a disgusting human being.
You also need a flat surface to measure a height too.
The NTSB measures their surface level from sea level, and it's with respect to the chord line of the wings to measure their altitude for straight and level flight. It's called pitch data.
which means you'd then never be able to measure how high the light bulb is in your ceiling off the floor.
What about aeroplanes that are flying with respect to the surface level that they're measuring with the altimeter? Are they measuring light bulbs? This man's a shit, a shyster, a deceitful scumbag. Because when I specifically measure altitude with altimeters in my example, Dave goes to light bulbs in your house. That's what people do when they want to pour scorn on actual data that altimeters would give you. He goes to light bulbs. Well, he's just a scumbag because he's saying the NTSB data's wrong. That's what actually got mentioned in the clip he played. Someone's off mute in G+.
He's retarded. He's retarded. What did that statement even mean? Did you Jay that? Well, what?
Measure a height too, which means you'd then never be able to measure how high the light bulb is in your ceiling off the floor. I could put a tape measure against my globe and measure how high something is off its surface.
You could.
Really? And is that sea level? Does that globe represent the sea level that we measure with the altimeter? Because the sea level's the sea level. They don't use your toy globe, you stupid spastic. Perhaps when I said altimeter, you thought that the NTSB got a fucking tape measure and stuck it on a blow-up ball. Or did they use sea level, you stupid, disingenuous spastic? Yeah, they definitely used sea level. They didn't plop a tape measure on a blow-up globe. They did definitely measure the altimeter in the black box when investigating death.
We can even go so far as being able to measure the distances between two curved surfaces using a circle. If you look at the sport of curling, which incidentally is another example of working with angles to curved surfaces...
On a flat plane? It's a flat plane.
Did he say curling?
Curling as in moving stuff along a flat, frozen surface.
He's retarded.
But the goal of curling is to have your stone closer to the centre of the target than your opponent's.
What would be the purpose of measuring elevation angles in Antarctica? I mean, you'd think you'd go straight to that. But here we are looking at curling. I mean, this is a sport. You appreciate, Dave Mckeegan, you total spastic, that this is a sport. Now, we discuss measuring Earth with elevation angles in Antarctica. Your measurements will be the ones I appeal to, the ones in Antarctica off a flat surface level, if you're going to stand by your measurements of Earth's surface. I mean, obviously you could deny them, I don't care. Obviously I won't have any measurements, and neither will you if you deny your own measurements of Earth's surface in Antarctica. But this isn't an Earth measurement, you fucking retard. This is a sport. Okay, Spacker? When I talk about altimeters, I'm not talking about fucking archery. When I talk about measuring elevation angles, I'm not talking about fucking boxing. Do you understand, you spastic? Were you dropped on your fucking head? I'm talking about measuring Earth, and this retard's talking about fucking curling.
And whilst the closest is usually quite apparent, if and when there are two opposing stones a very similar distance from the...
Spastic, we measure Earth flat with elevation angles in Antarctica. You measured Earth flat in Antarctica. The surface of Earth was measured. Earth is flat with those measurements. You measured it. You want to appeal to curling? I'll call you a spastic. Okay? That's what I'll do.
In the centre, the judges need to measure which is the closest. And they do this...
Sorry, mate.
Say again.
Just saying, all he's done throughout this video is try to give 4 examples of that you can obtain an elevation angle from a curved surface. That's all he's done throughout the video. He doesn't know what an elevation angle is. He's proved that point. And I was just giving stupid, retarded examples, but I've got nothing to do with the measurement of Earth.
By using a piece of equipment that sort of acts like a giant maths compass. They plant a pivot point of the device on the centre mark of the target.
I'm just going to say it again. I literally couldn't give 2 shiny shites how curling works. Meanwhile, we at Flat Earth Debate talk about how Earth gets measured. And I'm going to cite, I don't know, who should I cite? I'm going to cite Dave. Dave measured Earth. For a 24-hour period, he took angle measurements of the sun, of a flat Earth. It's the only way you can measure angles with respect to the surface of Earth if you're going to measure Earth. They're called elevation angles. Dave measured them. Meanwhile, if you're a globe believer and you've got me threatening you with your own measurements, you'll talk about curling. That's what you'll do.
They then move a measuring marker to the closest part of one of the stones and then sweep the marker distance. Or I could just easily argue that if you can't get a height from a curved surface, then you couldn't stand on a hill and...
Sorry, if you can't get a height from a curved surface... Sorry, is our height from curve level? Or is it from sea level? It's definitely going to be from a level, though, isn't it? Sea level, surface level. That's how we measure Earth. It's called altitude. Like the altitude angle. Like Dan conceded to, because he understands, because perhaps he wasn't dropped on his head.
Measuring a mountain's elevation, it assumes that since elevations are measured as vertical distances from sea level...
You all tracking now? You understand what we're putting down? By we, Simon, Dan and I. Yeah, we both understand how Earth gets measured flat. Locally, on a small scale... Like for 50 kilometres, we measure Earth flat, like Dan says, yeah? It's a prerequisite. We couldn't call elevation angles angles if surface level wasn't level. If it wasn't from sea level, it wouldn't be a measurement, and then we'd have no Earth measurements, would we?
Measure the height of a person. Yet I'm pretty sure most people realise that you can do that.
What, measure heights of people? Oh, I should change the name to Measuring a Man Earth Debate, should I? Is that what we're doing? Debating about how we measure men? Do we measure men off surface level or sea level? Or do we just measure their height in general? Because when it comes to Earth measurements, we'll be measuring with respect to the surface of Earth. But that's what we're debating about here. I mean, this crackhead thinks we're debating about curling and measuring men. Men? Why are you worried about measuring men? Shouldn't you be worried about getting a girlfriend?
It doesn't matter. You're utilizing a flat surface to do the measurement anyway.
And finally, in the trio of Nathan's flat Earth measurements is linear.
No, they're not my flat Earth measurements. Maybe I didn't make it clear in this whole video. I'll just do it again. I am going to be appealing to Dave Mckeegan's measurements of surface level in Antarctica. It's a southward direction, like opposite to north. North's over there, and you can have the sun above your head circling around. And south's over there, and you can have the sun circling around. And you can measure the surface level with respect to an angle for a 24-hour period. Yeah? I mean, that flat Earth prerequisite elevation angle measurement is what I'm appealing to. Now, obviously, I'm going to wait and find out if Dave tells me that, no, you're not going to have my elevation angle measurement of Earth's surface as a Earth surface measurement. It's not even a measurement, he may say. I mean, I don't know. But he keeps thinking that it's my measurement. I didn't go with you. I was never even invited. I've been claimed to turn down some invite, but obviously Will Duffy's going to be burning in hell lest he provides email evidence that I've turned something down. Now, he'll be burning in hell, all right. But meanwhile, I'm not appealing to any of my measurements, Dave. I'm appealing to your elevation angle measurements in Antarctica of the sun for a 24-hour period off Earth, if you're going to call it an Earth measurement. Or I'm wrong and I can't appeal to your measurements because you haven't got any measurements, right? They're not even angles. They're not even measurements. We weren't even there. I mean, I don't know what you're going to tell me. But if they are elevation angle measurements of the sun for a 24-hour period, they are. Then Earth's being measured flat. Okay, Dave? So we're clear, they're your measurements.
Distances.
But today, many of us live where the roads are good and traveling hundreds of miles.
Who's this unfuckable troll?
miles, what, like a linear flat Earth distance, prerequisite for the maps that have got scales that are only capable of description with respect?
You know, earlier when people were like, oh, you don't have to bring it to this level, right? This is what I was talking about, though. I was like, there's lots of people like Dave who appeal to Dave for his deflection to guns. But ultimately, this is who Dave represents, right? Yeah? Another little cave-dwelling, unfuckable golem. That's who this is. Hey, hun, would you sleep with this guy? No.
To a flat surface. Those sorts of miles, son. Yeah, you're going to need a flat Earth for that. So
that wasn't me inviting my wife to sleep with him if she did say yes, by the way. It was hypothetical, and she basically said, I don't want to get involved after the fact, so I might as well disclaim that now.
I suggest you get on your knees and acknowledge just how flat Earth must be for these miles that you're utilising.
Because of this, I set out to measure the size of the Earth for myself. First, I need to find a way to measure the distance between two cities.
Sorry, the distance measurement is a linear distance. I just covered this. So immediately you're into utilising flat Earth prerequisites for this example.
And this...
Right, now I'm being told I've run too long. How long have we been live? Wow, been live for over 3 hours. This is probably going to be the point I round out, because we're not going to get to the end of this 45-minute video if we're doing 10 minutes an hour, and I don't really want to spend another hour live. So is there any comment that you want to add while we're still live? Not that it matters particularly that we're live.
Well, yeah, he said he could measure elevation from a curve. From the Encyclopedia of World Geography, elevation can be defined as a measure of height above mean sea level. Didn't say curve. From Byju's, sea level is the base level for measuring elevation and depth on Earth. I didn't see any curve there. From National Geographic, sea level is the base level for measuring elevation and depth on Earth. The end.
Okay. Should we do a bit more? There's been a bit of miscommunication. I thought I was being told to end the show, but I'm not. So
again, it's pretty easy to debunk. I mean, heights and linear distances, they're essentially the same, they just change the orientation. But if kilometers are a linear distance, then so too are meters and so too are centimeters. And if we could only measure straight lines with those distances, then that means that...
No, we do, on maps, measure straight line distances with miles, which are linear.
No, that's a straw man. That's a straw man. He said, listen closely to what he said. And if we can only measure... Go back.
Meters are a linear distance, then so too are meters and so too are centimeters. And if we could only measure straight lines with those distances...
Stop. And if we can only measure straight lines... Who said that? That's not our claim. Huh? Yeah, you didn't catch that, did you?
No.
Distances, then that means that a circle could never have a circumference.
A circle's what? A circle. You measure a circle that's flat. What circles are you measuring?
A circle's of equal elevation.
The retard.
Any journey that you took that involved traveling over hills would have an indeterminate length to them because the distance going over those hills would be done with linear measurements. And again, Nathan and his audience often draw on this idea of linear distances to try and shut down arguments that they can't answer. For example, I recently heard someone bringing up the topic of stars dropping by 1 degree per 69 miles of travel.
Okay, so again, welcome to Flat Earth. If you're going to describe the elevation angle measurement of a star dropping towards the horizon and give it a degree, that's 1 for every 60 nautical miles, then you're describing looking at Polaris and measuring its angle and how that angle drops as you move away from, in this case, Polaris. That's a flat Earth elevation angle measurement of Polaris then. So we're measuring Earth flat then. like the measurements Dave made in Antarctica, coincidentally the exact same measurement, an elevation angle measurement in his case to the sun for 24 hours. Yeah, if we're going to measure 1 degree for every 60 nautical miles, that's 1 degree with respect to the horizontal plane of reference the observer is standing on to measure this elevation angle off a flat Earth. My God, all they want to do is use our measurements and then argue about how flat Earth measurement, in this case, a degree off a flat surface, isn't working on a flat Earth. If it's not working on a flat Earth, it isn't a degree measurement. You're not going to measure 1 degree of anything unless it's with respect to the planar surface the observer is standing on, measuring the degree with. What an idiot.
Yeah,
because
he's
Sorry, go ahead. What did you say, QE? Sorry.
No, I just said he's retarded.
Yes, he is. He's incredibly stupid.
69 miles per degree you get.
Welcome to flat Earth from me. If you describe 1 degree receding towards the horizon, yeah, that's a degree less against the surface level.
6210, and that would be your R value.
So we're deriving an R value with an angle off a flat surface. That's right.
6210 is your R value. And then you get a circumference for that. What circumference do you get?
And the person then made reference to the fact that you can independently verify that you've travelled 69 miles by using the odometer on your car.
Just so it's flat.
Okay, Brian, I can test that because I use Navionics.
Sorry, who cares? We're not measuring a degree with a tacho, are we? So you think that the 1 degree bit of this measurement was measured with the car? Sorry, is this guy really this stupid?
Yeah, he is too.
Degree?
Yeah.
That's the measurement. How the star drops towards the horizon. The measurement is the angle, not the tacho. Oh my God.
Because I live in Florida, so I have a boat GPS on my phone, which gives me my nautical mile of travel as I travel across the ocean or even in my car, because I can use it. So I can compare the Navionics app to my odometer on my car or something like that.
But then one of Nathan's panel argues that the distance the odometer is measuring is a linear distance of miles.
So we're going to measure.
I think they've done it. I think these.
With an odometer, a linear distance in miles, and then we're going to take an angle measurement from a plane of reference to Polaris. Where's the ball in this?
Now, what I love about that particular argument is they're saying it's...
That wasn't an argument. What he did was declare how Earth got measured flat with elevation angles to Polaris, how a description with respect to a plane of reference was a star receding 1 degree, and then he said, how has this got anything to do with the ball? That's not an argument, that's a statement of how Earth got measured flat, and then a question about where your ball comes into it, because it didn't.
It's a linear distance of miles, but odometers literally work by measuring...
Sorry, is this the arguments about odometers now, is it? Oh my God. Wow, this is pathetic.
...circles. The odometer is taking the circumference of your car's tyre and counting the number of rotations that the tyre makes. Each full rotation of the tyre means that your car has travelled that distance of the tyre's circumference. It's why it's not recommended that you change your car tyres to a different size.
Oh, brother.
Oh, my God.
Or if you do, recalibrate your odometer, because a tyre with a different circumference will then cause the odometer to give inaccurate measurements for how far you've travelled.
Now tell us how a differential works.
Now, Nathan or one of his...
Good.
As the crow flies? Will the odometer give the distance as crow flies?
What, like you draw a line on a map with?
Friggin' moron.
watchers may try and put forward the argument that the circumference of the tyre is only being calculated based on the radius or the diameter.
No. I mean, you're in a fantasy land where what you think about in any way affects how I process my evidence of a flat Earth. It's still going to be your measurements of an elevation angle for a 24-hour period in the Antarctic region. Yeah, it's not going to be me saying, actually, with my neck beard, the circumference of the... No, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to appeal to ours in Antarctica by you. That's all I'll do. This little shitty straw man you're trying to burn, yeah, I won't be burning it alongside you, mate. Sorry.
Kind of like this.
So the minimum elevation angle measurement to Polaris can be calculated after measurement with a strange, to describe now I think about it, but circumferential value. But the derivation of that circumferential value that shouldn't really be described in miles, in my humble opinion, is an after-the-fact derivation of an elevation angle that gives you a radial value, a straight line. Well, the radial value that's being derived with the minimum elevation angle measurement to Polaris.
Yeah, that's the bit that we measure Earth flat with.
Number one isn't a calculation, as he's just said, it's a measurement. And that measurement must be straight because it won't be a radius to infer sphericity with if it isn't a straight measurement along the ground.
Except that's probably not the best argument for them to make. Because
it's not an argument. I'm talking about how you measure angles to derive radii. For example, with Polaris and latitude. So it's not an argument. Why do these people think that when I'm making declarations about how an angle gets measured, that's somehow an argument? No, that's how we measure Polaris for latitude.
Was that a rhetorical question? I'll tell you, because they're retarded.
Because the radius is the distance between the center of the circle and the edge of the circle.
What circle? You don't live on a circle, glue sniffer. You live on a sphere, tard.
And the edge of the circle is curved. So there is no difference between measuring from a tangent in towards the center of the circle than there is measuring.
Where did you get a tangent? Where did a tangent come from? Did it come from curling?
That came from the pool table.
No, it came from the light bulb.
From a tangent away from the center of the circle.
What circle would this be? The circle that we calculate after measuring elevation angles with respect to the flat planar surface that we get elevation angle measurements from? Because the only circles that we're deriving if we're measuring Earth would be areas of equal elevation. Those are the only circles that get derived, calculated, whatever you want to call it. But thereafter, we measure Earth flat with elevation angles. So who gives a crap? None of this stuff is relevant to how we measure Earth. If you want to know what measurement of Earth I'm going to appeal to, I'll appeal to Dave Mckeegan in Antarctica, measuring elevation angles off a flat plane to the sun for 24 hours. That's what I'll appeal to. Here's what that looks like. It's a flat plane and an angle to the sun, like in the Hangout.
Which would give you a height above the circle. I mean, I can still remember...
Sorry, is that how we describe it? A height's described from circle level. Anybody want to fill me in now? Heights get described. Do they get described from circle level? Am I tripping or what? How do heights get described again?
I guess that was rhetorical.
It wasn't rhetorical. How do heights get described? What are they measured off?
Sea level.
Sea level? Not circle level then. Maybe Dave was dropped on his frickin' head by careless parents because he seems to think that heights get measured off circle level. Crackhead. Sea level, mate.
As far back as primary school...
What? You didn't know what sea level was?
Measuring the distance around our playground using a trundle wheel. Or, as you may know them, a measuring wheel or surveyor's wheel. Exactly like this. You roll it along the ground and it will measure how many meters or centimeters that you've travelled. And I'm sure right about now, some flat earthers will be thinking...
Thinking, what does this have to do with your elevation angle measurement in Antarctica for a 24-hour period? Wow, nothing.
Yeah, but you're rolling
about how retarded he is.
Maybe.
along the ground, and the ground is flat. So it's therefore still measuring the Earth flat. But I can use this wheel to measure the circumference of a ball. So just saying distances are linear, therefore Earth is measured flat, doesn't work. Because those same distances still apply to curved surfaces in our
the circumference of the Earth then. So measure the circumference of your globe card then. Not just a basketball. Let's see you measure the distance of your globe card to make it not a false equivalence fallacy.
Yeah, where are we getting those measurements from? Oh, we get a dip to the geometric horizon after measuring surface level, if you're Al-Biruni, or we can derive it with minimum elevation angle measurements to Polaris. Yeah, I covered how we do measure the radius though, don't I, Dave? Yeah? Like with Al-Biruni, yeah? Dip angle. We're going to measure the height of the mountain off the surface level, right? With trig, because trig's okay. Do we need to hear from Dan about how trig's okay?
And sea level is assumed to be flat.
Everyday lives. Nathan's entire mantra for months has been nothing but Earth is measured flat.
Idiot, ignorant girl. Make videos about how a flat Earth linear distance in kilometres to a building measured with a height off surface level proves Earth isn't flat.
Right. We're going to round out the live stream on that note. So with that, another huge, massive, enormous thank you to both Discord and G+ panels, first and foremost, for making today's live show possible. But if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley premiering streams, stay tuned as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, though, this is where we bid you, the audience, farewell. So another massive thank you to all of you for liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, gifting memberships, as Roger Ledwell did. Thank you very much indeed for gifting a membership. And all that good stuff. Shout out to Fisherman in a Box, says Roger Ledwell from the Super Chat. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.